Hey, the little blue bar has come up to say we're live. Today is the 25th of February 2018. This is Angel and Artist Night. So far on the panel, we have Astral, who lives in Denmark. We've got Patricia, UK, Levkungfu, UK. We've got Angel, America. We've got Flat Fred, UK. And we've got artists from Germany. So hello, everybody.
Hello, Karen. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hello. Hello, Patricia. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody in the chat room. The other day, we were really happy to be on that hangout with Mr. Thrive, and a new web page is being made, People for People. The very end of the actual web page will change. I think we're going for I can't say it now. peopleforpeople.life. There was a little technicality there. So that web page is going to be called that, peopleforpeople.life. But that's quite apt, isn't it, really, guys? Anil?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, good name. Very good name.
Very
Especially the live part as well.
Yeah,
it was by accident, because obviously I think when he actually looked at it, because he was looking at it all on the hangout and bought it, or we were actually on the hangout, the word for had 2 R's in it, and he didn't want that. And then someone else owns peopleforpeople.com, which I thought would be very surprising if they didn't own. But I actually prefer peopleforpeople.life. I think that's even better, because that's what it is. We are here for life, whatever life, however long life is. So it's brilliant. That's what I think. Anyway, I think everybody here agrees with that as well, don't they? That's good. Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and it's going to be a place where people can go and look stuff up. Anybody can, so it's there for everybody. And hopefully to start making people in their own communities, a community in their own community, helping each other in where you live. So yeah, all good stuff. Anyway, it's really weird sitting here. Lev's the only one who hasn't got his microphone shut off. I'm sitting here with all the microphones turned off.
I can turn mine on, not a problem.
Artist has got a few things to show us, haven't you, Artist?
Yeah, I'm still researching, and there was some. I was researching and looking for things, and sometimes you stumble upon certain things. And what I want to show you is this electrical discharge. And actually, you can see that if you zoom in, this is in. It's called Devil's Slide, and it's located in Utah. I can zoom out a little bit. Then you can see you can see the area. It's near Ogden and Salt Lake City over here. That is a city that people know, Salt Lake City in Utah. If you actually zoom in, you can see over here. Here's actually you can see that those rocks are pushed out of the ground. Over here also. Over here in the trees. So that's very interesting. And what is, again, if you have an electrical discharge area, you have again a mining operation. See, so they are mining close to an electrical discharge area. And that's interesting that always when you find these areas, there's close to it, there's a mining operation. Because I don't know what kind of mine this is, but most of the time it's iron rich or mineral rich. So it's interesting that, and I can actually go on the road that you can see it from another angle. There you go. And this, we can have an estimate of the size of it, how big it is.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's very high up. This is a truck, so it's almost 1, 2, 3 trucks high, maybe a little bit more. And here you have the mining operation on the other side, so you can maybe trace it a little bit down the road. You can see over here they are mining. You can see all the mining activities. And here you can see, and it's called Devil's Slide. Location says here Morgan, Utah, so probably the nearest city is Morgan. And it goes all the way down, so that's very interesting. We can zoom in a little bit. You can see this is actually pushed out of the ground, because the rest of the mountain, you can see also here a little bit, but it's not that clear. Maybe I can go a little bit. This here you can see also those vertical lines in the stones a bit. We have a vertical line going upward, and if you take a look, hope it clears out. It's a little bit blurry on this side for some reason. But here you can actually see the size of a person. That person goes this high. You can see how big it is. And maybe in certain area where you also have those monolithic structures, often near those electrical discharge sites, maybe what the monolithic builders just did, if you have this, you can easily cut out the stones. Yeah, it's much easier than you have to dig into the ground. This is easier. But actually, you can use, if you have the tools for it, you can actually cut your blocks from this wall and use it for construction on the monolithic side. So maybe that's what they sometimes did. There was an electrical discharge with something like this, and they can actually use it for construction of a monolithic structure. But it's just an idea I had. So who knows?
Yeah, and it wouldn't have had a road going through it, would it, Artis?
Sorry?
It wouldn't have had a road going through it.
Yeah, I missed a bit of your question. Sorry.
Oh, it's just like, it was a bit more of a joke. There wouldn't have been a road going through it, would there?
Why not?
Well, not all that time ago.
No, probably not. Now the road was made later. Yeah, the road was made later, of course. And maybe there's something still under the ground. Maybe part of a monolithic structure, who knows? Because back in the day, they didn't care. And they make a road, they saw something, whatever. So, yeah, it could be actually that they destroyed part of a monolithic structure, or there is still a monolithic structure somewhere hidden that is covered by dirt. So, who knows? That's a possibility still.
You're showing the watch page.
Oh.
That's okay.
Show the watch page?
Yeah, anyway, we also had a bit of thought the other day, and I was driving down the country road, and of course the leaves haven't come on the trees. They're Lindenberg, aren't they? The trees are Lindenberg thingy bobs. I was talking to Flat Fred about it before we came on there.
Okay.
Flat Fred? The trees are electric.
Yeah, Hi Karen. Yeah, I ain't done much research on the Lindenberg effect, but as far as it goes in the electrical universe, they are a copy.
Yeah.
I only just realised that the other day when I was looking at the trees after watching all those things that presentations that Artis has done. I just realised that all the trees without leaves on are the same thing.
Well, they are electric because they still give off a certain frequencies, and every tree gives off, a plant gives off a different frequency. So therefore, yeah, it fits the whole narrative that they are electric. Yeah.
I never thought about it before. So this is going on underground as well, isn't it then, Flat Fred? This is going on because of underground.
Yeah, I think so. I think it don't matter what happens above ground. people are always searching below ground for some reason. Mining's popular everywhere. The fiscal market, the gold, the way that the economy is run, it's all sort of strives and goes forward on the principle of gold and the principle of precious metals. And precious metals are connected to organic material. As I've been doing research on Mud Fossil University. I've got to give him a shout out on YouTube. Obviously, I think he's a Glober. I don't know. I'm not sure, but he's got some interesting stuff. If the trees was huge, then obviously the people was. So, and that's I ain't got no problem with that. This realm has been changed and messed about and played about with for a long while. So, trees are connected to everything, and like the mining, that seems to be connected to a lot of stuff as well. The elite love it, and they always have done. And look through history, they always have done. So gold's a big thing in all this. Greed's a big thing in all this. So I thought it's connected to so many things, and rabbit holes are they're everywhere, and a lot of people are sort of wary to travel down any, and rightfully so. Obviously, because the world that we live in, and the world that we desire to live in, and the world that we should live in are all different. So people's perspectives on where they live and what they're doing would seem to be all the same, but they're all guided around money and finance and greed, and it's horrid. It really is. It's horrid to watch, especially when you're awake and you can see it. It's horrible. Horrid to watch people lose themselves over pieces of paper or plastic, But trees are evident in everything. The trees are evident in cultures, past and present. So the significant, and like I say, rainforests are being chopped down. I mean, the place still is beautiful in certain parts, but obviously it's changing rapidly now. So I think things need to be assessed, and this is what we're doing. Sun and Moon, Karen, great group. Everybody assesses and assesses their environment and tries to find the answers that they're looking for, and those answers then turn into answers and questions for others to answer. It's brilliant. It's fantastic the way everything comes together. Obviously, the world that we live in is thwarted in greed and disillusion, but things need to change, and hopefully everything that's coming together is going to push things forward. Well, I've got no doubt it's going to push things forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
But they could also, for this web page, you can also put on about trees, can't you? Because obviously people don't realise that how this electrical side of trees and what they mean, and you could be able to put a little article on there, so that this is about that site is about hopefully not educating, but that sort of thing. Because obviously most people think, I go to the doctors, it gives me a prescription, and so it's not going to be called Flat Earth, but of course it will include, probably to start with, mostly flat earthers, because obviously when you wake up you realise that it's not that maybe we don't like nice things, but it's just that other things become much more important. That's what I think for most people, and so that site's going to be about the people, so there'll be a place for everybody on there, because this is about a community to grow on this web page. But yeah, thank you, Flat Fred. And also you've made me realise things about trees, Flat Fred. Things I should know, Karen. But just
before I forget, there are also devices that you can hook up on trees with clips. You can buy them on the internet and actually can hear the sound of your plant through that device. That you can hear the singing of a plant.
Can I say something.
Yeah,
think-
then after you said it, I will go further with my presentation.
Okay, good. But
Second
whilst we're on the subject of trees, I regularly hug trees. I know it sounds crazy and everything, but I do, right? And I think everyone should do it. You know, it makes you feel good. You feel nice, you know, and just giving another person a hug, you feel good. But find a nice, good, sturdy, strong tree, give it a hug, you know. Yeah. Rant over. Carry on.
I've given a few trees hugs in my time. Don't you worry. I understand. Anyway, thanks for that, Astral. Over to artists. It's the A's tonight. We've got Astral, Artist, and Angel.
Yeah.
Over to you then, Artist.
Yeah, there are some, like I said, there are some devices you can buy for that you can clip on. One has to go into the ground, one you can clip on a leaf, and then you can hear the sound of your plant singing. And it's interesting. Maybe you can find the site where they are sold. People are interested. Also over here in this picture, you can also see a slide. See, in those mountains. Yeah, I couldn't get a picture that was actually close enough, but over here there's also a slide. Here's also I don't know. This is also rocks. See, like that slide forms some strange rocks into the sea. And you have, of course, these. This is actually called Bowling Ball Beach in Mendocino in California. It's called actually Bowling Ball Beach. So if you type in Bowling Ball Beach, you will easily find this site. And again, you have something also like a slide. You can see also the ground is raised up. Normally you have a beach that slowly the surface gets higher, but this is actually, whoop, all of a sudden it shoots up the surface. So this almost looks like it was pushed up. Here's another picture of Bowling Ball Beach in California.
Hello.
Yeah, there are a lot of them around. So, like also I mentioned in the previous hangouts, that there are a lot of spherical balls on the Earth. I will try to find more locations, so then I can pinpoint all the locations that have balls near an electrical discharge. So maybe there's a pattern, who knows. There's another couple of pictures you get an idea. This is actually the beach. Again, you have here something that looks like an electrical discharge, see? With a rim around it. So this is also lowered. It's a lake now. So, and here you have those bowling balls, those spherical stone balls on the beach. So this is interesting. The slide bit is over here, I believe, or just a little bit further. Here also have these, so the rocks with those slides a little bit in it, like it's carved into the rock. And here you have all those balls on the beach. What is interesting, you have another one, and this is in New Zealand. This is Kukohei Beach in New Zealand. And you also have those spherical balls. And as you can see here, you have the hexagonal shape a bit that you also have on other that's pushed up, those columns in a hexagonal shape. And it's interesting that also on those balls you have those shapes, just like on football. If you play soccer, it also has those shapes on a soccer football.
They were the balls of the giants.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Here actually the beach, you can see it. You can see from Google Earth those balls easily lying around. So that's interesting that you also have a lot of balls on the beach. They were probably formed somewhere, maybe in the water, an electrical discharge in the water, or from an island that is close to it, and then just rolled to the shore. Who knows? These are the spherical balls from Costa Rica I talked about. Most of them are often almost covered completely by ground. Most of the time only a part is sticking out. The dark part was probably sticking out. Most of the time that's the darkened part that was sticking out. And actually also on the Costa Rica and the coastline, you have those spherical balls. So they are also on the land itself, a couple of kilometers land inwards, but also on the beach. So that's interesting that you have a lot of beaches with those spherical balls. And I'm trying to investigate more into it, that I can find a certain pattern maybe. But that's what I'm trying to find out from research. I'm still, it's still going on with research. So if anybody in the chat or anybody in the panel or anybody is watching this later has another location for spherical balls, I'd be glad to hear it. I know there are also some in Kazakhstan and in Egypt. But if you have other sites, please message it or put it in the comments. So that was the things that I was researching about.
Amazing, those things.
Yeah. And they're always near electrical discharge areas, so that's interesting.
And they can be quite small, can't they?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they are smaller, sometimes they are bigger. Sometimes they are almost around 7 foot, and sometimes they're only 3 foot. Every time, but most of the time, the balls in a certain area are roughly the same size. But if you compare it to other areas, they have a different size. And sometimes there's also a guy that a little bit investigation on the spherical balls, and it also contains iron. But I have to research it a little bit further. What I also found, this is just some going on research, so this is a preview for maybe other hangouts. I found another site over here. I will make it a little bit larger, otherwise people can't see it. And this is called the Temple of Zeus in Syria. And if you will take a close look, again, the knobs are situated on the lower part of the stone. This is in the middle, roughly. But these, again, are situated on the lower part of the stone. Here's also a very small one. So it's interesting that if you have your ancient structures, and here, knob is lower, this one is in the middle, but these two are, again, situated on the low part of the stone. And I think this, it's called the Temple of Zeus. It's even more damaged than it is now, because in Syria you have that war now going on. So a lot of ancient structures over there have heavily been damaged. That's a shame, of course. This is another, you can see a little bit more of that structure. That's interesting. We'll zoom in a little bit. So here you can see those knobs again. Here's a smaller one. Again, smaller blocks on top. You can see those shapes here, U-type of shapes again. So they use sometimes, they use certain kind of building techniques that often is also used on other ancient sites. And that was interesting. That again, you see an ancient structure, and again you have those knobs on the stone. So that's interesting.
What are them cornerstones, artists? You know the cornerstones? Can you zoom in on them? The top right one, yeah.
And it will become a little bit blurry because the picture is a little bit small.
Right. It's just the other side, the right one. I think the left one's a bit too far. You see that one? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, because they look significant, don't they? Sort of Freemasonry of some sort.
I think they are called Corinthian columns. Those have those countess leaves on top. Yeah. A little bit, or? But they are organic,
like actually. Generations, though, doesn't it, artists? That's not the same people that put the roof on, is it?
I don't know if it was later. It's done very often that you have an old construction, and they sometimes use the blocks. But others also do it with churches. They found an old ancient site, they built a church on top and used the blocks that are already on that site from that ancient structure. So this could be, it actually could be that they found an ancient site and just used the blocks that were already there, and then shaped it into this gate. So these blocks can be from an older site that they reused. It's done often that they reuse certain parts of an old monolithic structure. So that's maybe indeed what they did over here, that they reused the blocks that are already there. Here you can see that there are still some blocks lying around. And again, very tight fitting blocks. It's interesting. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry, go Patricia.
I'm just looking at that picture and I'm thinking, why is the original archway so high? And then they put that piece across.
Oh yeah.
I thought that too.
Is
Why
it
the
like-
archway bricked over?
Oh yeah, indeed. Like
It's as if it was for giants or something, maybe.
yeah, this is indeed for a very large person, and this
Or
is
somebody on a horseback with a long lance.
yeah, who knows?
Hmm.
But it's interesting that it indeed what Patricia mentioned, and that's very well seen indeed. That there it seems to be that they added this later. That's why do you yeah.
I have something, artist. Do we know what orientation it is? Because I'm thinking, where is the sun going to be like rising, or on particular days of the year? It's always nice to know what the orientation is. If it's like facing to the east or northeast or whatever.
At this moment, I don't know, but I can check because I just found these pictures today.
Right.
So that's therefore I don't. I can maybe I can find the location while we're doing this hangout. Yeah.
Bit of live research.
Live research, like we often do.
Yeah, it's always good, like researching.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Let's see if I found other things.
What do the people in the chat room think about that sort of archway with the sort of the lintel in the middle? Hey, troubles in the house.
Trouble in the
In the
house.
chat room.
Cool.
I just always loved the engineering in general. I mean, my thing that I think we should be looking at is they can take a small flake of it and find out if it was a manufactured rock or organic rock, because we'll find a lot of times, I think we'll find a lot more than we think, that these rocks are not geo-organic. Like the rocks on the beach there were probably not manufactured, but evident, like remnants of something that occurred in nature because of the electrical strikes. The rock formation that we were looking at a while ago was something that was most likely formed from Earth, as opposed to the pyramids, which were obviously engineered and manufactured. So, and each of them is individually has its own awe, because what Mother Nature can do and what previous civilizations have done and could do, and we are still just learning how they did and what they were telling us.
I think we'd all like to know more about that.
Yeah, I think petrification's probably got a lot to do with a lot of this as well. There's a lot of these stones, a lot of these materials was organic. So petrification process has got something to do with it. So obviously cutting, the working of these materials, because the working of them is not simple, is it?
So what are you saying then? You think a lot of these were wooden and they've turned into stone?
Well, I think if we look at every bit of material on the plane was some sort of organic material. So through petrification, through the floods are quite clear, really, to me. The floods and the process that petrification entails is the oxygen escapes, and once the oxygen escapes, these organisms are used to being in a wet environment, but obviously the sea, the water, has an effect, and petrification. I think there's some Japanese or Chinese trials that the trials in some mountains and left some wood, and it began to petrify after sort of 10, 15 years or something. So petrification's got a lot to do with it, and like I say, minerals and mineral depositation, that's got a lot to do with it. Crystals and everything, all this is tied in, and everything's organic. So the way that the pyramids was built, the way that the pyramids was built that are not in plain view anymore, they're all built out of a certain material that used to be organic, and it all points to semi-precious metals to me, most of it. So obviously there's alchemy involved, and there's other processes that obviously the knowledge has been lost for the general public, and obviously not lost for the elites, because obviously they're still using processes that the ancients used. You know, I mean, we don't know the half of it. Obviously, we've got Antarctica going, Antarctica processes. You know, there's all sorts of stuff going on with materials that we don't know. You know, these materials have got other properties. So the technology's advanced. Everything's advanced, and the mining aspect of this plane, there's too much mining going on as far as I'm concerned. And this mining is there's use for it. And the ancients had an obsession with gold, and every ruler through his story has had an obsession with gold. Gold has a strong pull, and it's magnetic. It's dielectric magnetic. It pulls us. People I've got they're hypnotized by the stuff. So the old plane, what we live in, is run by it. You know, so that's why it's got so much of a pull. Everybody needs to pull themselves away from it so we can advance forward. The greed is what stops man from advancing, and the greed has always stopped man advancing. Greed is all. This is why we're in a mess. This is why there's been so much destruction on the plane. We never learn. We never learn.
No, that's what I was thinking. Or maybe the people just weren't strong enough or something. Thank you for that, Flat Fred. Yeah, it's so great to hear you properly today, because your internet's working properly. Yay! And hello, Yudit.
Hey, Yudit.
Hey, shalom, everybody.
Hi, Yudit. Shalom.
Shalom. We've been talking about artists has found some other rocks that look like they've been pushed out the ground, and they're mining close to it. There's a new picture. He's talking about the balls, the stone balls full of iron, and we talked a little bit about the trees looking like the Lindenberg markings on when they do those, but actually the trees actually look like that in real life. And then Flat Fred has just been adding his bit. Do you want to explain a little bit again as she came on halfway through? Flat Fred,
my head goes everywhere, Karen.
What, you've forgotten what you were saying?
No, I haven't. Everything's all good. It just seems I could go on forever. Do you know what I'm saying? It does seem quite simple to me. It really does seem simple. We live in a mine, and it's been getting mined for all eternity, and greed has grabbed hold of everybody. The creation has done whatever in the past. It's the past. You know, like we say before, Karen, we are now beings. It's very difficult to be a now being if everything around you is manipulated. You know, so it's manipulated for a reason as well, because this place is, you know, it's overwhelming at times. This place we live in, because we want the truth, but the truth is most people would fear it, wouldn't they? So This is why we're in the dilemma that we are, and this is why everything's pulled together as it is, and this is why things are changing very quick. Things are changing very fast, and it's not that I can say I don't like it. I feel it's not the right way, and it just feels nature around us feels like she's being strangled. I mean, I've done more research on ivy, Karen, and ivy's always been around, and it's got properties that are amazing, you know. So with all these different frequencies bouncing around, trees can be shielded as well. So nature can protect with destructive forces as well as it's sort of, if you look at it in a way, it's putting a shield around herself to stop herself being attacked and killing herself in the process. Really big phase of even James says consciousness, because consciousness is acknowledging. I consider everything as a shattered piece of glass, and that shattered piece of glass is coming back together. And once that shattered piece of glass comes together, then whatever bliss or whatever is there, I don't even consider myself to be part of that bigger picture. I just want everything to be fine with Mother. That's what my concern is. And I look around Mother, and I look around the way that she's been trapped, and the way she's been trapped with mining, with I mean, electrical arcing. Artist is right. These electrical arcs, when did they appear? When did they occur? We don't. Sometimes we might even not even know. You know, sometimes they could occur without us even knowing. You know, the plane is vast.
Well,
and they
sorry.
can't track everywhere. So
What happens when lightning strikes? I mean, okay, it hits, you know, usually the highest thing, but I mean, it does hit beaches and stuff at times, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. And that's energy. That's excess energy in it. So that energy is finding a point to neutralize. So like I say, the realm's changed a lot. So this process could encourage mining. You know, in a way, if you think about it, electrical strikes could encourage mining in parts of the plane because, like Artist says, it encourages growth around the arc. So we live in an electric realm, and these arcs happen for a reason, and the realm is not like it used to be, and there's far too much mining, far too much greed, and underneath the realm we live on, it's a different story, because these regions are still connected. You know, they can still pass messages. This is our Wi-Fi stuff. You know, it's frequency. So the realm's not changed in its the way that it is, or it was created. It's changed in its appearance from what man's done to it. So the way that what we've got ourselves into is harnessing energy for selfish purposes, and that's how I think it's been for a long time. I mean, like we learn now, free energy is around. Free energy's been around for a long time. I mean, these kind of advancements we never knew about because we was told other. So and it's all been used for greed and for selfish purposes. If we look at it in the bigger picture, that's all been used for selfish purposes. Harnessing electricity and then selling it for far too much money. You know, I mean, all this stuff ties together.
It does. And I was just thinking, you know, if you're living here, why wouldn't they want us to have clean air and like sustaining proper, you know, like to use free energy isn't to create bad energy, because bad energy is all the smoke, all the, you know, there's going to be masses of things because they're using, well, so they say oil and petrol and firing up things and whatever it is that they say they do, they're just making more chemicals and more thing, whereas free energy is natural. So why wouldn't they want us having natural and using natural stuffs? No, they want us in plastic and nylon and just anything that isn't natural.
Yeah, even the clothes. It even comes down to the clothes we wear, Karen. You know, the sheep will put anything on the backs now, and this is the problem. See, it divides them even more. You know, because these materials are dangerous. Just the process of polyester is dangerous. So to put it on your back after, you know,
yeah,
we all wear
I
football.
think you're right. Sorry, I think you're right there, Flat Fred. We need to get away from all this synthetics. Totally dismiss synthetics and get back to Mother Nature. We know, like cotton and, you know, the natural stuff. Hemp was awesome. You can make everything out of hemp. They make rope, they make paper, they make, yeah, I mean, there's a million things.
Cars, run cars off it. You know, they make everything out of it. But that was in the 60s, wasn't it?
They wrote the Declaration of Independence on it. When was that wrote?
Well, I don't know about that, mate. I ain't
1776 wasn't America formed?
Yeah.
It was wrote on hemp paper. They've been using hemp paper for thousands of years.
Well, it's the old construct has changed. So instead of it going going for mother and for nature and going the cleanest way, everything is reverted onto pollution and destruction. I mean, it's quite obvious to see when you look out of the city window. You know, you can see it. It's disgusting in ways, but in other ways, how is man supposed to advance if he can't destroy himself?
Yeah.
Because that's all he seems to do, you know. And we seem to have come back in time. Or, you know, we could just seem to revert, and we never use the knowledge through purpose. It always gets used against. It seems to get used against the good of the grain.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Can I just say, right?
You know,
we have medicine. Practically all medicine is plant derived, isn't it? You know, they go to the rainforest. They find thousands and thousands and thousands of different types of plants. They break them down. They take the chemical things out of them and everything. And then, of course, the powers that be produce medicines, all these ointments and different kinds of pills and all sorts of shit, things that actually do work, but in essence, they're only doing it to make money. Whereas, look at the people in the rainforest. They're not ill because they can just take that leaf and rub it on their wound or rub it on their sore shoulder or whatever it is, you know. They take Mother Nature and they use it for goodness, like, you know. It's the powers that be that have taken these medicines or these herbs and spices and, you know, trees and plants and what have you, and done it for monetary gain. And that's wrong. I mean, it's wrong because the earth belongs to us all. No one can lay claim on any part of it or anything, and we should all have the availability to take some of these plants ourselves without consequence, you know, going to jail. What are you doing? It's a plant, for God's sake. It is a plant. Yeah. This was here before anyone was here. You know?
But it's getting dangerous, though, even with that Astral, because you look at the way that GM's been in now for 20 years. So it's got its foothold in quite a few cultures. And even when it comes to geoengineering now, you've got geoengineering and engineering in trees. So the eucalyptus tree has been engineered in China. So they've got hectares of genetically engineered eucalyptus trees, you know, to withstand certain temperatures. So the change has already started, and I think once you get to a certain stage with the change, you're going to struggle to go back. And people talk about scriptures. People talk about, you know, it's all finished. I've got quite a positive outlook when it comes to the place we live because it survived for so long. So, but the things that we're doing now with geoengineering and introducing different technology into all sectors of You know, we're not playing a game that you can reverse. You know, I mean, the world's always changed, and maybe it was a place of bliss when it was first created. That's what it needs to return to. But when you talk about geoengineering, I mean, I was in the other day. I must have counted 100 planes, 100. You know, we got sprayed. You know, we got sprayed, and this kind of stuff is we don't see it with our eye. You know, so this stuff is it's stodgy stuff. So I mean, I say, nature always adapts, and she always has done. So it's not so much worrying about nature. It's man is in a precarious situation, and it's controlled by a few elites that know all the secrets and all the knowledge. And this is we research it and we find it ourselves. You know, each individual one of us researches, and we can't stop. You know, something inside just tells us to carry on. I mean, you can't stop. There's that much lies and deceit. You can't stop. And it's not a case of wanting to find every answer. I don't want to find every answer. I don't want to know how my body weighs. I'm not really interested. I want the plane we're living in, the existence of the plane we're living in needs to go forward. Needs to go and progress again instead of going backwards.
But I think that's where we're at now. We are progressing. Sorry, these hangouts, the flat Earth. I won't say flat Earth movement. The flat Earth, you know, yeah, for loss of a better word, I don't know. But we're flat Earthers, right? In essence, and because of that, we've awakened to like more other things that are relevant in our lives, especially like health, security, and we're more awake to what's going on. We've opened our eyes and we've seen like, oh my God, this is just not right, you know. And we're not many people. I don't think we're that many people in all reality. It's growing for sure. It grows every single day without a shadow of a doubt. But it's going to take time, and I think that the more we have, you know, sessions like this where people can talk and figure things out, and of course, the more that we are, the better, the easier that things fall to us. You know, the answers fall easier to us. You know what I mean? It's just that we need to have talking. We have this network of people that can talk together. Flat Earth Network, that's what I think it is.
And it's also good to know people like, say, Flat Fred, who's into trees, and Angel, who's into pyramids, and Artis, who's into lots of things. We call him Inspector Clouseau and the Rock Man. You know, Yudit's out every day with her camera taking pictures of the sun and the moon, like many others, like Robert Forsch, Robert Kidner, Dave Marsh, Stan Smith, it goes on. Yeah, and others help coming on the chats, help with advice or information. So yeah, hopefully it's going to start changing, because the way that the frequency is between the people isn't very good, is it? Let alone everything else which they're doing. And I think once you notice it, it's worse, isn't it? Just what you said. Carry on, Flat Fred.
Yeah, I think frequency is really important, isn't it? It really is important, and it's being changed before our very eyes. You know, and we can't even see the frequency, and we just adapt to it, and it's been changed because of the devices that we're going to be using. You know, the next generation of technology is already AI enabled. So the warnings are there, aren't there? I think the warnings are there.
Yeah, even Dan, I've been following Propaganda something media he's called, and he's been out with his P900, and Google says it's 16 miles away, and his camera says it's 8. Sort of thing, so that when he's looking at planes in the sky, he's saying these aren't 7 miles up, these are only a couple of miles up. This plane's only a mile away from me. It's not 2 or 3 miles away from me, it's a mile. He says that, you know, everything's so even what they're telling us about how big we are and what we're on is all a lie.
Yeah.
Can't even tell us the truth how far away things are.
It's a heavy deceit, but through it all, Karen, you know, when I step outside, I'm not. I don't feel any of it. You know, nature's got a funny way, hasn't she, of making you forget certain stuff. You know, making you enjoy certain stuff. You know, she's beautiful in a way that we're blessed to be here, and we're stuck to her. You know, regardless. You know, because you're not going anywhere, are you? Not in your vessel.
No.
No, you're not going anywhere. So you're stuck. So, but I like I say, beautiful, all of it. It's beautiful from watching, you know, the trees and the blue tits are back. You know, chirping about, looking for houses. You know, it's
I mean, spring's on its way. Oh,
you know, it's beautiful. It's starting. Nature's starting to get spring again. So she doesn't stop. It's just what we do. It's only man, and it's only for greed, and that's the two things that have got to be said. It's man. People could talk about demons. Yeah, they are strong. Demons are strong, and they'll hide you, and they'll keep you in a closet for decades, and you don't even know. You don't even know that they're there. And then demons, they're really hard to get rid of, to shake away, shake them off. You know, they're hard to shake them off. You know, but in another sense, that's your own personal journey. So, outside influences are all pinpointed to the same thing, as to get you to test your demons. So in some ways it's beautiful, but it's very cruel. So I think we've always got an uphill struggle, and everything that's happening around us is always going to be for the awakened is going to be difficult. But I think I try and really be positive about things. Chemtrails are a nightmare, but you know that's and fluoride's a nightmare, and you know white flour and poison sugar and stuff. It's all a nightmare. But you know I think if you can fight your demons, and you know nobody's going to be perfect. But I don't know. I think mother didn't teach us to be like this. We taught ourselves. We did. We taught ourselves, and it's about time we taught ourselves not to be like it. And it's difficult for every individual because we've got this is such a mess. But there's a way through it,
haven't they? It's a bit like they're taking everything away. Yet we've got this great big ego saying, "Look what I've got," but you haven't really got anything except an ego.
You see it with the children do it. You know, they bully each other, and you know, it's all about something about football or technology, which are nothing, are they really? So it's difficult. It's difficult for all now, and it's say when I was young, it seemed to be really easy, Karen. Yeah, yeah. Now for them, you know, with all this technology interrupting the frequencies, they haven't got time for the parents.
We used to go outside, didn't we? We used to play outside.
Yeah, but it's a dangerous place outside.
We used to go to the parks.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was all good. It's all good now. Yeah, we still do that now. Still do it with my mind, you know. We still do all that stuff, but it's just shrouded in another form of deceit, which is chemtrails and disgusting fumes and what have you. So with every car, every street full of cars. I mean, I don't blame people for wanting to get to work and stuff, and I don't blame people for wanting to use some sort of transportation. But when you get streets that are full, Karen, I'm sure it's like it in your part of the country, where every street is full of cars. The infrastructure was already put there before the cars was bought. So there's your planning, you know, because I can remember being young and thinking why we got all these roads, and the infrastructure was being put there. So obviously it was planning, you know. So you know, the change from electric into pollution and cars and stuff. The research has been done, Karen, hasn't it? You know, electric cars. Electric. I mean, even went down to the electric milk floats. You know, I can remember hanging onto the back of them when it was snowy. So I can remember the electric stuff. You know, in my when I was young. So I know that was possible then, but we've turned it all into sort of fossil fuels and oil out of mother. And obviously it's not going to be very good, is it? Come on. I mean, let's face it. If you're dragging 1 million barrels out a day in one part of the country, in one part of the world, and then dragging another 1 million barrels a day out of another part of the country, another part of the world, all you got to do is a little bit of math and think, well, you know, this isn't right. This isn't right. There's something, you know, you got to do something else. And they've already started, haven't they, with the Tesla cars? But they already had them. So they've just got rich and destroyed a bit of mother and made nothing but creation and everything else angry. But, you know, it's all in the stars.
It's interesting. I just want to show
Oh,
you.
that's perfectly all right, Flatfred. It was nice to hear your thoughts and a big collection of everything we've been talking about in the last few weeks, really. So thanks for that. And
Yeah.
very sad that it's like that. I mean, do you know one thing they could do? I saw a post on Facebook that they can make concrete out of plastic. Now, I'm not saying we want the plastic, but there's such a surplus of plastic. You could even just use it on the roads, you know, and actually put, you know, like maybe we don't want plastic on our roads. We've got concrete on the roads. Why not use this plastic? And because you can't get rid of it once you've made it, can you? Unless you, I suppose, boil it down or whatever. But you can't really get rid of it. It doesn't biodegrade once it's in the ground.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time. But it's all these windows that they took out. You see, that's what gets to me. You know, all the windows and stuff that they took out. All that stuff was all vibrationally sound, if you know what I mean. And the clay brick, what they used, because they used Fetton bricks, and there was clay. So the materials that they used to build buildings was wonderful. You know, because they make it feel like home. You know, those old houses, they make you feel like home because the materials that they build out of. But now the change of building is gone crazy. It's like they build schools out of garbage. You know, and it's all plain to see. It's, you know, it's in plain view. I mean, I went to a park the other day. There's a couple of big rocks. You know, the minerals. That's what they are. The minerals. The you know, all sorts in there. You know, big chunks of tree. That's what I'll say. That's what they are. Big chunks of tree, and you can see the vein in them right in your plain view at a park. You know, so it's there if you want to see it, and that's what it's all over. It's all because the gold's not. It's plentiful. There's loads. It's everywhere. But the thing is, that's it. They get you to think that it's not, and then you think, oh, I like it. I like. You know, it's got such a pull. I don't think there's anybody who can resist. It's got such a pull, you know, and that the ancients knew this, and the royals know it as well. So because you're surrounded by it, you know, so it gives off something. The whole creation's based on gold, you know. It's beautiful. It's a perfect way to travel frequency. So, you know, there's a beautiful realm what we live in, and it's been manipulated. It's been turned on its head. So gold, everybody's mad about gold and greed, and that is the problem because it makes the ego, fires the ego up, and then once the ego started up, Karen, then anxiety sets in for the opposite of the ego. You know, so you've got then the ball's rolling, you know, and then that ball rolls, and then we've got to this stage where the streets are full of cars, we're sucking the plane dry, you know, we're causing there's problems everywhere. Everybody's got their head in the phones, looking at things that are irrelevant, you know, and this is the thing, you know, you can put preachers in churches who are preaching the end of the world. It's nothing to do with that. It's us. Well, us that's destroying it. You know, it's us. It's all the things. If I live near a port, you know, I see the boats come every day. You know, stuff. Bring some more stuff. There's some more plastic from China. You know, give some more stuff. You know, more stuff for the shops. You know, people can see it when they go out and buy, and I've been guilty of it myself. and I'll have to pay me patent, for it. But at the end of it, it doesn't do any good, does it? And it's like I could sometimes think, what have we created? Because
The
the
UK
things that happen,
stuff now, doesn't it? Anyway, we don't make it here anymore. We used to make our own stuff, all of it, and now we buy it in.
yeah, it's all imported, and China, and plastic, and it's just nonsense, really. But the world can be so much about so much more, and they've made it so much about everything else. So the world, as it stands, seems dull, but to me, it gets more beautiful every day. It's as simple as that, really. It gets more beautiful every day.
But the
And
more
maybe
about
you
those
can feel,
trees that you understand.
yeah. I mean, I go into the woods, Karen, and I don't go there enough, but she's struggling. She's struggling. It's everything what we're doing around us. So if you look around you, and if you go in a radius of 25 miles outside your local town, wherever you live, you'll see the effect. And wherever you go, there'll be fields that are ploughed, ready for sowing seed, and there'll be tiny woodlands that are clumped up next to the fields, and that's the only thing that's left of what should be major forestry, and we can live around that. That's balance.
Sorry, Flatfred, can I just interrupt you?
Yeah, go for it, Astral.
Right. Have you heard about orgonite?
Orgonite.
Orgonite.
Yeah, Matt was
exactly.
putting that out
Right. Well,
today.
I've known about it for a long time, but I've been delving into it a lot today, looking at a few lectures and things. But they've done so much amazing work with orgonite, right? And especially when it comes to like plants and things. I mean, they thrive. They thrive. So what I recommend you do is get some orgonite, go all around your forest, all around your house, and put these little, they call them holy hand grenades, right? Because it's like a small, HHG, holy hand grenades, and you can put them, and then these, you'll get, your forest will thrive, man. It'll get rid of all of the chemtrails. They get rid of chemtrails directly above your house if you've got some of these orgonite, hand grenades they call them, right?
Orgonite's a mineral, isn't it, Astral? Is it a mineral? It's a mineral, isn't it?
Well, it's organic matter with metallic. You take like filings from copper, you take filings from iron, you take filings from, and then you have crystals in it, and you put it into like a resin, make a pyramid, and then you put them in four corners of your house. They make these. There's so many shapes and sizes. You can make little pendants out of them. I mean, from what I've seen, everyone needs to have orgonite, because if we all do this, if we look into it, if everyone should research it, look into it, it's going to make a change. It will make a massive change, not only on the nature around us, but also on our well-being. I've heard stories about people that have been at each other's throats. Sorry. They're not getting along well and all that kind of stuff. And then they've got orgonite, put it in the house. Do you know what? Within no time, and I'm talking about like half an hour, they're absolutely loving each other. There's no hostility. There's no, animosity. Everything seems to it's like a polarization of how things were. And we need to research this kind of stuff more. I mean, this is going back a long time. One of the guys that was doing it was in collaboration a little bit with Sigmund Freud. He's from Germany. What was he called? Oh, fuck, I forget his name now. But anyway, he was working with Sigmund Freud on it, and he's called Wilhelm Reich, R-E-I-C-H, Wilhelm Reich, Wilhelm, W-I-L-H-E-L-M, Reich, R-E-I-C-H. And he printed lots of books and stuff. They all got burnt up, of course, because what he was doing was not good. Apparently, the powers that be didn't like him. So, but orgonite, research it, and I don't really want to say anymore because I think we should all look into it more. I know a fair bit about it, but not enough. They made these accumulators. They made these little cabins where people could sit in them, and 15, 20 minutes, man, they felt like a newborn person, more or less, you know. So it's worth looking into. I posted a few things to Karen today, you know, but yeah, it's worth looking into for sure.
You know the flutes that are made out of bamboo?
Yeah.
He had a tool that he put on the back of a pickup truck that looked like one of those for Godzilla. The tallest flute piece would have been like 8 feet, and then it got smaller, and there were like 12 of them. And each of those was focused and tuned to project vibrational energy up to the clouds, which made the clouds form. And they used to call him the Rain Man. They would call him in to, you know, make it rain. And it all has to do with vibrational energy. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I've been saying.
So I couldn't get myself unmuted. Ah!
You know, I still feel that it's a provable fact. All water is a crystal, and it vibrates or oscillates at many different frequencies and makes many different cool patterns. And some of them are destructive, and some of them are not destructive. Some of them are more yielding to glumping together, and some of them are more yielding to breaking apart. And by putting it at certain vibrational energies, you can aid it in doing one or the other, making clouds or breaking clouds. And that is kind of one of the things that he was focusing on. In a way, he was doing what HAARP was doing, only he was doing it using the Earth's vibrational energy. He would have to put a hose into a lake. He'd have to put it into standing water and project that frequency up into the clouds, which would make the clouds condense and become rain clouds and then water drops. I mean, it was, but they don't really want to focus on that. We focus on seeding clouds nowadays. That's, you know, we force nature instead of working with nature. I've been pointing out over the past couple of weeks how we focus on the macro instead of the micro, how to, you know, take the energy that's already there and kind of work with it and nature it and coddle it. Instead, we say, well, we can do it this way all the time. You don't have to know how to do it. We just force feed it down nature's throat. And that's our now type attitude. And the reason why England doesn't make anything and stuff like that, or UK, is everyone has to be a consumer. Even if you buy the exact same product from some other country, there has to be cross-country commerce in order for the big boys to make their money. You know, the commerce industry has to be happy. That is, you all need to be consumers. You can't be self-defending, self-providing, knowledgeable people. You have to be consumers. That's your job.
Yeah. And that's why it's great that sometimes online you have certain people who have their videos that you actually can see, like my friend here, born on 11970. He actually tells you how to make organ pyramids in the video. So that's handy. He tells it very detailedly how you can make them. So that's nice of him. You can also buy them from him if you want to. If you don't, if you have don't have the time to make them. And but there are people online that actually tell you how to make organ pyramids. So that's handy. This is a friend of mine who tells it, and probably there will be other sites that they tell how to make them. Also, it is interesting, I talked about the device previously a bit. Here's that device, you can hook it up to your plant, and then actually you can hear the sound of a plant, and also how he reacts to you. So if you are in his environment, how the plant will react to you.
It's an EKG for a plant.
Yeah.
What happens if the plant doesn't like you?
Well, then you can probably also hear it. Or if you, and actually it is great that certain sites, health
Can
sites,
I just interrupt?
are now, okay.
Sorry, yeah, but it's on the same thing. I saw a study once where they took plants and they wired it up to a thing like that, and they've chopped the leaves off. And you know what? The plants, they were crying. And the other plants were also affected by it. They hooked up similar machines to the opposite plants. Like I think they were cabbages or something. They've hooked the other cabbages up with this electronic stuff, and there were reactions from the other plants or the other cabbages in the room when they chopped up one of these, hacked it up and everything. The other plants were affected by it. And
that's for sure. Actually, I want to say
true.
Actually, there's a documentary about it, very detailed, and it's called over here, "The Secret Life of Plants." Who describes what you are talking, describes it perfectly, and they also show a person watching a monitor, and then a plant that is basically beside it. The plant can't see the monitor, so it's blocked off with the screen. And actually, the reaction of the person, they also do it with a meter that you can actually see how the person reacted to the things he saw on the screen. Just like a lie detector, you can see the needle going across. And actually, they looked at the plant, also hooked it up, and see what the response was, and it was very similar. And that is also documented in that documentary, "The Secret Life of Plants." And also what you mentioned, that they actually, a couple of persons walk in a room, they smash the plant to pieces, and there are other plants that are hooked up. And actually, when the plants react to it, and then after a certain amount of time, I think the next day, the people walk in the room, and the person who smashed up that plant doesn't smash up any plant, but the plants only react to when that person walks by those plants. So they remember from a couple of hours or even a day before, they remember which person smashed up the plant, because they can see it on that device.
Yeah, exactly.
See the needle going up and down. They react to that person. So plants have a memory.
Yes.
What the people do to them. So they, that's very interesting that they capture that in The Secret Life of Plants. And that certain size like this also means.
But that's why I say when you see a tree, hug a tree, because a tree, it's a living entity, and like you said, they remember, so it's only good. That's what I think anyway. It's only
and be
good.
nice to your trees.
Yeah,
Astral
plants it. Sorry.
Astral Boris says that. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, they're not sentient beings. Is that what you
Thanks,
mean?
Boris.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
And they do make noises, yeah, but I'm trying almost, I mean, yeah, I think if you could amplify a sound, cut a plant, you would hear it screaming and crying. I am sure of that.
This is what this device do. What I just show you over here. You can buy it online. The device, you can hook one clip to the plant, and one clip goes into the ground, and then actually you can hear the plant sing or react, or actually translates it to a hearable sound. So it can be done. And I think this device has been around for...
I suppose that's obvious, really, because Flat Fred says that trees have frequencies and emit frequencies. So if trees are doing it, plants have to be doing it as well.
Plants, every organic life form has a frequency. Everything that is alive has a frequency. And people also... See, just wait a second. Hear a frequency. Oh, okay. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, we used to talk about frequency with plants and things. It's not only plants. I mean, like a piece of wood, your table, everything has a frequency. Everything has a vibration. Absolutely everything. I'm done.
Flat Fred?
Yeah, even the seasons. The seasons have a frequency, and the trees pick up on that frequency, and then know how to change. Because they don't see, so they have to feel the frequency. The frequency has to be right. This is why they try to change the frequency, because it messes everything up. You know, and that's the truth, isn't it? You know, really. It's horrible. It's depressing, and that. You know, I look at the birds, and even the birds struggle. You know, it's like they must be flying through haze or something. You know, because the struggle. You know, when they're grouped together, they're fine because you know it seems to be all right. But you know, it affects everything. And like say 3G, 4G, and then on to 5G. It has an effect on nature around you.
They don't care about that, do they?
No, I think because the thing is, if you think about that, if you do think about that, then it puts it back on us. Because then you say, well, I want the next iPhone, or you know, your teenager wants the next iPhone. That iPhone has to run on 5G because it needs the faster network. You know, so then these 5G towers get put up everywhere. So then the demand for it creates the industry. Do you know what I'm saying? So the demand for it creates industry. So
Right.
iPhones, you know, all that kind of technology is dangerous. We know that for a fact because you know every sort, you know, because it interferes with you, interferes with your frequency. So eventually it can cause you illness. So everybody knows that. So when we talk about technology creates, you know, it creates a demand, and then we fulfill that demand, and then that demand then gets bigger, and then that's when the problem is, because then obviously the demand creates the need, and then the need creates, yeah, and then everybody wants it everywhere, and then you say, we need towers up, oh, we need, you know, and then the next thing you know, you've got problems because they emit so much radiation and bad vibes, you know what I'm saying? So, and that alters everything. It's like sort of dome within a dome, innit? A dome within the holds you in a certain, you know, cities are all the same out there. You know, they're all like, ooh, you know, a bit dodgy here, a bit dodgy there. They're nice, you know, I could walk around in any city and that and I get on, but there's certain parts in every place that's shrouded, sort of. So it's only getting worse because these towers are going up everywhere. And I know America is struggling. I don't know if anybody can comment on that, but I know America's struggling. I don't know about Aussie land.
The Wi-Fi in America, usually people, is terrible. But it is a big place, isn't it? You know, we're a much smaller place.
Yeah. Well, that's why these towers are going up, isn't it? Well, these towers are not, they're just there for reception of broadband. It connects a bigger network, doesn't it, really? And that's what it does, and that's what they're after. It's like I say, change. Everything's coming out crazy. You know, you got virtual reality coming out. You got young uns addicted to computers, PCs. They put PC students who are addicted to PCs. If they go for rehab, they're in the same place as a drug addict. Yeah, because it's an addiction. It's the same thing. So, but that's more of an epidemic than any drug. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's hooked everybody. It's hooked everybody. It's like Matt says, fish. We all get hooked by the computer fish. You know, Matt. I love Matt. He's great. I love his attitude. It's great because he's right. You know, get hooked by fish, like cars and like everything else. The technology, we get hooked by fish, and it's horrid. It's horrid to watch. And you go through torture yourself because you think, well, it don't have to be like that, but then the demand creates a need, and then that's. It's like I say, we destroy ourselves because the demand creates a need. It's like cars, you know, when there was no cars on the road in the 70s, or there was a very few. Eventually, it became cheap to drive, and then now we're in the next sort of couple of generations later, and the cars are full cars. The roads are cars. There's just full cars everywhere. You know, it's not good because I don't like breathing the crap. You know, I mean, at the end of it, if you put a fact like this,
I'm sure that other countries, I don't know about other countries, but there's a lot of people that live here and everybody has a car.
yeah, it's a nightmare, isn't it, Karen? I mean,
Yeah.
most people got two, haven't they? Or three.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, this doesn't make any sense to me. Well, it does make sense. It makes sense because it's everybody's doing it under the spell of obviously everything else out there.
Wouldn't it have been great if they'd been
Wake up.
electric?
Yeah, it would have been. Well, no, it wouldn't have been because there'd have been no money in that, and then obviously the economy, the financial economy would have collapsed a long time ago. You know, wouldn't it? The financial economy would have collapsed, and there would have been new ways. It would have been like more troops would have come out. You know, they didn't want it like that. So these greedy families stepped in, didn't they? And decided to change it all. And that's what it is. It's like I say, we've all got demons to bear, you know, but it's mainly it's families that are that used to the greed and they've got too much and they want more. And that's like I say,
Can
I
I
don't
just
put
say
it down.
something? Astral, when you're not talking, can you mute? Because you drown. Well, I don't know if it happens on the chat room, but when you put your microphone on, he drowns out. Sorry, thank you, my darling. Oh, we've lost artist now. Yeah, carry on, Fred.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's mental. It's a crazy world we live in, and it's all about greed. And greed is horrible. It drags you, grabs hold of you, and it's anybody's susceptible. I've been susceptible. You know, it's horrid. It's a horrid thing. Materialism's part of it, isn't it? And we all want, or we all desire. Maybe that's the problem, isn't it? Because we desire too much. Maybe we're not satisfied, are we? My mum always used to say, "You're just never satisfied here." You know. So maybe we're just not satisfied. So we need to be satisfied, don't we? And it's a big jump that, you know, from having the world that we live in now and creating the generations that we've created into going back to simplicity. And I mean,
We don't know really what they've done, do they, to us? Because if we could see the frequencies, we'd probably hate the place we were living in if we could actually see all the frequencies we're living in.
Yeah, it is. It's hard work, isn't it? It's stepping outside yesterday. Oh, we got smashed. You know, it was just chems, and you know, it's not on. Come on, you know what I mean? It's not on. And people need to know about this stuff. They need to look up. They don't really. Yeah, we say we need to know. They just need to look up, and the people don't, do they? Yeah, I can remember mine when I first thought about chemtrails and stuff. I knew automatically they weren't right because I've been on a plane and it didn't let know chemtrails when I was on it. I was looking out the window. You know what I mean? So I see all the flat clouds. So I didn't even think about flat Earth then. But you know, things sparked in my brain when I see chemtrails. And let's face it, come on, I mean, that's mass. It's genocide. It's genocide, isn't it? Yeah, because it's a strong word, that. Hey, and it's a strong word, that. But it is, because obviously it's going to affect a lot of people. They're only doing it over populated areas, aren't they? Yeah, so get it in no areas that are not.
You don't get it. Every day there are flipping things out there.
Yeah, it drives you nuts. It really does. It's horrible to look at, isn't it? You know, at the end of it, you know, it's not meant to be like this. It's never meant to be like this. It's not fair. It's not fair on. I mean, life ain't fair. You know, that's what people have always said. Life ain't. But it should be. It should be. Yeah. It's just greed, you see. Greed gets in the way every time. I know James was on about anxiety. And yeah, I agree with him. But what goes on about anxiety, and as soon as we're brought into the world, we get pushed into it. You know, anxiety is the only thing that we feel because we're anxious from when we're born, from then on until we break out the anxiety, and that anxiety is replaced at a certain age by greed and ego. So, you know, these things are sort of planned out there. It's horrible to think, you know, somebody planned it all. Crazy. But, you know, life shouldn't be like this. You know, people should have not people, you know, man and woman should thrive. We should thrive. And we can still, because if you think about it, everything's been reversed. So everything we're doing now is absolutely smashing everything in. Yeah, so nature's getting a good battering and that. But we can turn it around. We can turn it around. You know, I turn the oldest derelict, smashed up building into a brand new building again, and I know it's possible. So I know things are possible. It's just we need to rethink. And plastics, for instance, you know, you mention plastics to people, I think, well, how am I going to get my food then? You know what I mean? I just think, wow, that's mental. You know, it's plastics, you know, massive problem. But people, this is it. It's down to everything, isn't it? It's down to the very last thing. It's even to what people bring into their house to consume. Because even the plastics are destroying everything. I mean, I've seen videos of plastic being maybe put somewhere on purpose and you know, just to show how bad it gets, just to wind everybody up, just to make us feel negative about it. But the thing is, Mother Nature's great. She sorts it all out, and it all comes from her anyway, doesn't it? In one shape, some shape or form. So it's just one big shit machine, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, it's good to have your points of view. And everything you said is correct, isn't it? Really.
Well, yeah. I don't like to say I like to flow really, and I think I tend to try and flow from the art, and the art tells me that everything that's going on is really wrong, and something needs to be done about it. So that's why I'm here. I'm just trying to get answers the same as everybody else, and I know it's about greed. You know, that sticks out like a sore thumb to me, because you just walk down the street and look at different people's cars, then you see it. So wakey, rise and shine. You know, greed has got to go out the window. It's got to go, innit? And that's the worst thing for man and for man and woman is to get rid of that, because that's, oh, I'm not getting rid of this, I'm not getting rid of that. But the thing is, when creation is probably destroyed, maybe it's man that's destroyed itself. You know, we don't know, do we? We don't know, because we live in an electric universe and we're in a 3D realm, and we can't think outside the box most, so we don't know, and that's past. So I wouldn't like to be flooded again, but hey, it's not my choice, is it? It's whatever goes on in unity with man, because we can unite, change the frequency, and try and sort the mess we're in for the next generations. Make everything try. I mean, it's a crazy thought, because you think, well, no chance, because everybody's too infatuated with whatever they own. You know, because they don't own, do they? Nobody owns anything, do they? Really, you don't own out. You can't take it with you. It's only a material item. It's only got worth to that individual. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy place we live in. I do love it, but it's crazy. Somebody else speak, please.
Oh, that's okay. We were listening. Astral, you hadn't finished talking.
What was I talking about? I've had like 10 million thoughts since then. Sorry?
I don't know whether it's all of us, but when someone talks, or like you put your microphone, suddenly Flat Fred just completely sort of his voice goes.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I did mute then.
Yeah, you did. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Listening to Fred. What was I talking about? No, I was talking about the orgonite thing before. I mean, I think that is a way forward. I really do. I truly believe in it. I really do. You know, we should be careful though, because a lot of these people that are doing research and stuff, you know, they're I don't know, being victimized or being taken out for lack of a better word. But you know, it's not a good thing. The powers that be, they don't like this kind of stuff, because if we can help people basically for free, because you can make these things yourself. You take like a little funnel, you get some, you put your little crystal in the neck of the funnel. Of course, block up the funnel. I'm talking about a little funnel now, you know, like what you're going to transfer oil into your car engine or something, but obviously get a clean one. And then take these filings. You get your little crystal in the bottom, which would be the top of this little pyramid, if you understand what I mean. This little funnel, and then get your shavings. You can put you need to have organic matter in there. You know, like pine cones. Take some scratchings of pine cones. Take some scratchings of some small leaves or a bit of grass or a bit of. You have to have organic in there, and you have to have the metallic in there as well. So, like iron filings, brass filings, copper filings, not aluminium. I repeat, no aluminium. I don't know why aluminium. You shouldn't use aluminium, but you shouldn't. And yeah, I mean, let's do it and let's see. Boris in the chat, he's got someone he's got some actually of these orgonites. You can find them online. You can buy them. You can get like a little medallion or whatever, you know. And I saw a clip a while back now where a guy had made like these little pyramids, and he'd made 4 pyramids, or it was actually 1 pyramid. But if you take 1 pyramid and divide it into 4, and he used these pyramids and he placed them under desks and things. There is a thing online. I can't remember what he's called now. It's a long time ago since I saw that.
Good for humans as well. They're good for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. He's put them under his bed and they had like, oh, I feel great, you know. Negative energy. It obliterates.
It takes negative energy away.
It obliterates negative energy. And all these, you know, we have all these EMFs everywhere. It kills that. It makes sure that it just destroys the negative energy. You know, when you look up into the sky and you see like a blue haze, this is what they presume is orgonite. I mean, if you delve into it, this Wilhelm Reich, he's saying that it's basically when you look at your blood cells, they should have like this blue glow around them. It's called orgonite because it's to do with orgasms, right? It's about sexuality, and that's also his link with Sigmund Freud, because they were, kind of working together along the same kind of lines, but they became, I won't say they became enemies, but they weren't very friendly against each other, you know, so they parted their ways, and Wilhelm, he continued on his path. He built kind of like how do you call it? I wouldn't say it's a hospital, but he built a place where people could come. They could go into this chamber that he'd made, this accumulator, which is basically a box of, let's say, a wooden box, almost like an outside toilet, you know, back in the olden days. But it's like a small room made of wood, made of metal. He put wool in it. It was different layers, but I think, you know, 3 or 4 layers of you need to have the metal, you need to have the organic, you need to have the metal, you need to have the organic, and then these orgonite rays or radiation, whatever it is, it can come in, it can go out, it can come in. But what happens is when he's built this chamber, this accumulator, the energy is amplified in there. And they're saying like 20 minutes, half an hour, you feel like a new person, you know. I suggest look into it, delve into it. Everyone should look into it, really, because it's like, it's a good thing. And if it's basically free, it's helping everybody. I mean, like, if you've got an ailment, if you've got, like, you know, sore back. I was looking at something earlier, an old man, very nice guy. It sounds like he's a northerner. close to my heart. But he was saying he's got loads of these devices. He calls them devices. He calls them tools. You can put a bracelet around your wrist, you know, a copper bracelet around your wrist. He had a belt. He had one on his neck that touched just about where your clavicle is, or under your clavicle, because we have this thing called a K24, was it? Oh, forget the number. But anyway, there are different devices that he's made, and we can all make them very, very, very simply. I don't think it'd take more than a couple of hours to find all the ingredients to make these organite domes, pyramids, it's almost like a small paperweight, you know. They don't have to be big. You can make rings, all sorts of things. And of course, how difficult is it to get some brass filings or some copper filings or some, you know, iron filings, stainless steel filings? It's not difficult. Put them in a little mold, whatever it is you want to make. Make sure you have your crystal in there. You have to have a crystal in there. And your organic matter, and then put resin in on top. And then once the resin has hardened, it kind of pulls the substrate all together. It heals, it cures, once it's set, and then you can, either hold it in your pocket, put it in your pocket, put it under your bed. He recommends that you put one in 4 corners of your house, and reap the benefits. It's as simple as that. Just reap the benefits, and you will see the benefits already after like half an hour. So I think everyone should do it, and do it now.
So we need to go and buy a bunch of organite then. Flat Fred? Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Astral?
No, yeah. No, yeah. You can. You don't need to buy it. You can buy it. Of course, you can buy it. There's plenty of places, but why would you want to buy it if you can just make it yourself? You know what? Make it with your kids. Have fun. Make it with your mum or your dad or whatever. Have fun, and just kind of show them how to make it, especially with your kids. Because if you can do it with your kids, and they know about it already, and they're like, young kids or whatever, they're gonna, of course, reap the benefits already at a young age. And when they're older, they'll be doing it with their kids, if you understand. So it's a progression. It's only a positive progression. Don't need to buy it. You can just make it.
Oh. Thanks for that then, Astral. What do you reckon to that then, Fat Fred?
Yeah, great stuff. Crystals. I've got my own crystals, and I do sleep with them. The wild they are.
Are they now?
Oh yeah, the wild, absolutely wild. Now I do use sort of crystals and certain minerals. I do sleep after and that, so yeah, all that stuff. You got to, haven't you? Wi-Fi is a big issue. So anybody's got Wi-Fi, it's got to go off. It's got to go off, and it's derogatory for your aura. It's derogatory for your Torah field, and it's
Yeah, you can
derogatory
see why
for
they want
you.
to chop the trees down as well then, can't you? Well, they don't want any trees near the people.
Well, like I said before, you go in the woods, anybody go in the woods, you can feel it. You can feel the love. And that's it. I mean, I know people who from other countries, Nigeria, I know they've got groves in Nigeria, and I've spoke to people from Nigeria, and they still worship trees there. And I've spoke to him about some stuff and this, that, and the other, and he said that, yeah, there is tree spirits, and they do worship trees, but some of the spirits are evil. The spirits are not all good. So if you look at there's different species of trees. You look at how many different species there is. You can find sort of a bit of symmetry in that then, because you can think, yeah, well, If there's that many different species, all species. I mean, it says in the Bible, the trees, produce good fruit will look good. The trees that don't produce good fruit will look ugly. You've got good and bad in everything. So obviously, there's a balance between nature, and it seems to work. Yeah, when we leave it alone. when we leave it alone, it seems to work. Yeah, in set environments. But when we get involved, we mess it all up, and so we need to leave it alone, you know, and let it be, you know, let it do what it needs to do. I mean, there's certain people out there who do different sorts of farming and different sorts of forestry, and they are angels. You know, they do fantastic work. They really do. You know, there's plenty of stuff about it online on YouTube about forestry and people going off to do. I can't remember the name of it still, but they go off and they do set plots of land, and they'll put certain plants together, and certain species of trees will grow together, and they'll thrive together. These sorts of trees, and like I say, not all trees, and not all. I mean, I do believe trees as being spiritual. I do think that they're just like us. They're just like everything else. Everything else that lives is just the same. It's all the same. It's all got a connection. You know, if you look at a creature, the creature's got a heart and lungs. You know, it needs to breathe air. You know, it's even the ones that live in the water. Yeah, some of them have to breathe air. So everything's diverse but the same, and it's beautiful, all of it. And like I say, it's been manipulated for a long time. A long time. It's not just new and uncommon. It's been going for a long time, and like I say, mother's always fought back. Mother's always been able to diversify, because that's the wonder that it is. You know, so we're just like I've said before, we are just visitors. So, but like I say, I spoke to these guys, and they say, yeah, sort of tree worship still around in other countries, and that sort of paganism, it's still around. So, and some communities thrive from it because they tune themselves into nature, and people think automatically when you think paganism, you think, oh yeah, whoa, that's against everything. But each to their own, you know. So whatever, innit? I mean, if certain cultures thrive off it now, and certain cultures used to thrive off it, even in artists' country, you know what I mean? In 700, Germany was full of pagans. It was full of, and I do believe now that there is still a lot of pagans in Germany, you know. So it's never gone away. All this stuff's never gone away. It's just the materialistic world has took over, innit? It's crept in, and we've all had influence on it, you know. And it's horrible. It's like I say, we need to get out of it. And commercialism, I think I've heard before, James has said we need to stop buying, don't we? We need to stop acquiring stuff. That's what we need to do, and that sort of cuts it off, and it stops the use of money, and sort of puts it into a different form. But I try and do it myself, you know, work for this or work for that. But in today's society, it's crazy. It's just so difficult because it's so used to and so reliant on a fiscal system. You know, so people are that used to it. You know, we have to get unused to it. Otherwise, we're going to destroy it. I mean, we all have to face that. Yeah, because the way things are going, if the awakening don't attune to its right directives, it won't make any difference, will it? It'll just, you know, because just destroy itself again. Like I say, I think nature's already destroying herself. She's sort of gone into that. I thought it was people. Well, people have planted.
It's a very grey world,
everywhere.
that one.
Yeah. It's everything's a grey area. I think everything everything's a grey area. It's difficult because there's so many aspects of this reality have influenced every being, and that's the issue, because the financial system's influenced that much. It's got that deep. It's ingrained itself that deep. It's become part of the essence of most beings. It's except for these places where they don't use finance, like in the rainforests and in different indigenous countries, sort of groups. They thrive without finance. But even in certain sort of places, they have to involve themselves in a financial system because it goes that deep. That's it. Simple. People are, they know how it is. You look at your JFKs or whatever. Anybody can go into conspiracies, or you can look at your Martin Luther Kings or whatever. And anybody can go into conspiracies. But these people did stand up and said, "You know what I mean? This is something's going on." And they ended up in the same place. Whether it's a conspiracy or not, it doesn't matter. They still stood up. But is it? It goes so deep, It does. It goes so deep. When you look at everything in one big, massive ball, it goes so deep, all of it. Well, I enjoy it. I enjoy looking into stuff, finding out stuff. Sometimes you could have too many rabbit holes, but that's the way it is. I'm afraid, isn't it? We do or we die, and I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do. And that's it. It's the way it is.
Yeah, well, we didn't all know that it was going to be so deep, did we? Because nearly everything is a lie. Can I just ask Lev? We haven't heard from Lev today. Levkungfu.
How are you doing?
Hello, my darling. What do you make of today's talkings then?
I've been thinking about something which kind of goes along with a lot of what Flatfred was saying, like, to do with greed and stuff like, and promoting the idea of like acts of kindness. It doesn't cost anything to do it. All we have to do is like promote the idea. And I'm sure like most of the chat room already do things like, if you buy an all-day bus ticket and then, once you've used it, you can pass it on to someone, can't you? You know what I mean? You don't have to ask for any money for it or all like that. In fact, it's even better to turn it down, you know what I mean, and say, I don't want nothing for it, you know what I mean? So I kind of think, to like diffuse the greed, you know what I mean, and everybody was kind of waking up and being more positive and creating a much more better frequency across the plane and that kind of same sense and stuff like. It's something I've been, thinking about, and I can think, now it's said, everybody can do it, can't they? Everybody that does it kind of encourage it up on others, you know what I mean? And then, because it's like, if somebody come up to me and pass me a bus ticket, I'd be kind of chuffed about, oh wow, it's like, it's being kind kind of comes back and stuff like that. But if everybody has that same nature with each other, then we've got a brighter looking future, haven't we? And even if there's only a few of us doing it at the moment, at least it's kind of a step in the right direction and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's quite positive talk there. So we've got positive Fred, positive Lev. Yudit, Patricia, are either one of you there to make any comments? Hello, ladies. Ladies. Well, Angel then. Angel.
Done pause or unmute. No, I've actually followed Wilhelm and the Orgone energy. He was actually kind of a cool thing, and I do think it is something to look into. It goes into, I mean, it is a bigger picture thing, but we're taught the simple version of stuff. That way, I guess it's less lie they have to cover up if they give you the simple version.
Yeah. But everything's a lie, isn't it? Which is just anyway. Your thing is still to build pyramid, isn't it? That's
Well,
what you want.
I want to actually find out what it really does, and the only way to do that is to recreate the environment and see what nature does in that environment. I'm well beyond it being a tomb. It's plastered on the surface of the Peru. Peru is the canvas for the blueprints for the structures. It was obviously something of great importance. It is the focal point of the prime meridian of navigation at the time. It is a fairly important structure, and the diversion that it is a tomb, I think initially was just because it sounded good, and at this point it's because history doesn't really want to admit this structure would show a great level of knowledge. This structure does show a great level of knowledge, but if we pawn it off as a tomb made for some king with lots of slave power at his disposal, as opposed to someone who made an engineering project, which is, you know, even if it even at its basic, and I know it does more than I know it does, because there's more to the system, but it shows a knowledge of the elements that construct the compound we call water, and how to break it apart and how to put it back together, and then how to manipulate all of that using nature, just the buoyancy and density of each of the stages of water as it's being burnt, as it's being joined back together to make a really cool machine. If nothing else, it'll make a really pretty waterfall.
Yeah, because you're thinking that, like, say, for instance, Silbury Hill, for instance, the one near me, and it's got like this tunnel which went up, this like chimney that went up to let steam out. But is that what it was really for? You want to know, was it really to let the steam out? Or was it for something else?
I would think actually that one would be more for if it did come up into the center of it but didn't poke out the top. I would think it would want to collect condensating water on the inside. Maybe that would be cleaner water than just rainwater, because there's primary water, and there's also nature will condensate. It will, if it's there, it will condense, and then it'll drip down, and there are ways to collect water even in a desert. There is still moisture in the air. Granted, it's a finite amount, but it exists. That's how you use an air conditioner in a car in a desert. It's the same principle. In fact, if you look at the air conditioner, it's dripping water out of it. That's because it's condensing the water, the moisture in the air, cooling the air, because evaporation is a cooling process. That is just one of goes back to the fundamental ideas of nature. Is nature abhors a vacuum, and it will disperse energy in all directions, unless there's a barrier. We put things in coolers and stuff in order to kind of.
You don't think at all that I know it'd be a really weird thing, because it wouldn't have been, well, I suppose it would have been a certain size, but it's nothing to do with acoustics or anything like that for some reason.
Well, I can't say no, because I do believe that the way that the Grand Gallery is made, that it is like a tuning fork, and the focal energy is in what we refer to as the King's Chamber. And I think that it may have something to do with 440 hertz, but it would be 440 hertz. It would be the bass resonancy, but they, just like a guitar string, when you hold it down in certain sections, you get different notes, even though you hit the same vibrational pattern. They're assuming that that room to be empty, not half filled with water, and different environmental variables in play there. So the frequency you'll get will be different, just like the strings on a guitar, where you put them, the same stroke gives you different, sets of frequencies in versus frequencies out. And I think it all has a lot to do with nature. I'm not good with music, but it does all have to do with nature and striking chords, if you want to play word games. So yes, I do think it does have a lot to do with vibrational energy. I think they put nothing to waste. I would not be surprised if the rippling marks on the two edges of the lip of the what they like to call the sarcophagus, if we didn't run them across something like a record player needle, if it may actually say or be a certain frequency or have some patterning. But we don't really ever go down that path because they're never looking for any communication. They're just, oh, look, somebody must have broke it here, even though they broke it at a higher elevation than the rest of it. They must have broke it. No, they didn't. Everything on that is a form of communication. They were trying to relay information, and we are just too obtuse to really look for it or understand it. Especially when we're told that we're the smartest things that have ever been here. Because we came from apes, and before that, goo. And we live on a ball.
You mean we came from amoebas?
No, we started as slime. The amoebas were later. They started as single-celled organisms.
Yeah, right.
Protozoa.
Can I just say, have we got Artist back now? Artist, can you hear us? Can you speak? Artist.
That would be a no.
He's having he's got some headsets, but the batteries aren't they haven't got any power in them, and they need a bit of time to power up. So is that Artist? Hello.
We have sound.
Okay. Cool.
Houston,
You're back.
We have contact.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, glad you're back, Artist.
We understand there's an 8-second delay in your response.
Yeah, for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, sure, Angel.
A funny thing happened on the way to the Sun and Moon group.
I've seen that in someone's house the other day. I love you to the moon and back. And I was thinking, if only they knew how close it was. It's not that far after all. It's still anyway. Yeah, I'd like to know what those pyramids were exactly as well, really. Angel. I mean, people are saying Stonehenge is the motherboard, but we know that they've tampered with that one a bit, so we're not quite sure what that all is. But you get to Avebury, that's the womb of everything, and Silbury Hill, it's all the womb of going to the Great Pyramids, and there's a long barrow, and this woman, she was saying that the sound had to come off and hit the long barrow, and then it went off to Marlborough. That's what she said. Remember, I sent you the links, and that was acoustic. And also the sound travels really well there.
I mean, I don't disagree that that may not be a phenomenon. Just like if you're in Oklahoma where you got fields of nothing for miles, where you can talk across it, but that doesn't mean that is it, the purpose it was made. An internal structure the way it is, and the way that it looks like you have kind of like an anchor shape. That internal structure went down and then back out, up and out, so that whatever was in there would have been below the water level if the moat area around the outside of it was filled with water. And that is not done that way by mistake. That the way that is made and how it looks like it was designed to hold water around the outside of it, that those tunnels would connect to the inside and would be under the base water level of that pond, that puddle. So that is what I see. And if you do set something like that up, I do think you will get condensation on the inside tunnel, on the inside part that's sticking up, that it'll become moist and damp and just start to make or generate nice, clean, pure water. And probably the horses and cows and stuff would walk up to either end of it and just drink nice, clean water instead of the, fishy, swampy water that was around it. This is a hypothetical. I don't know. But they do things like that. I don't know if you've seen it in desert training school. You dig a hole about 18 inches deep, half a meter, and you put a plastic bag in it and then a plastic bag over it, and the water drops will condense on the top plastic bag and drip onto the bottom one, and every couple of hours you get like a cup full of water. Not a lot, but enough to survive. And that'll happen even in practically the driest of deserts because there's still moisture in there.
If so, temperature outside doesn't make any difference as long as it's got water there. Just asking.
No, temperature does make a difference. There are. Do you know how we make like liquid hydrogen and liquid helium and all those colder and colder things? It all has to deal with taking one of the gases and condensing it, and then as it uncondenses, as it evaporates and sucks up energy, it will pull energy from the other gas and make it condense. And then it takes, for whatever reason, it seems to take less energy to get something to condense than it does to get it to uncondense, to boil. It takes more energy to get water to boil than it does to have it condense to a driplet on the side of the pot and then drip back down into the puddle of water. So this is how we get colder and colder liquids, is by letting nature do some of the work. We overcool one and allow it to pull energy from the other to make it colder than it was, because as soon as it becomes liquid, now it's at a colder state. This is nature again, we're talking. It follows rules, not reason. At a colder state than the other liquid, because the other liquid is trying to boil, pulling energy from anywhere. Anyway, it's a really cool thing the way we do it. If anybody hasn't looked into how to make these liquids.
Angel,
Yeah.
can I say something?
Yeah.
I was in the pyramid, right? One thing I remember, it's fucking hot. It's absolute. I mean, you're dripping wet, man. It's so hot. So I know it's like a lot of stone on the outside and everything, but inside, I mean, okay, you got air convection, but that was one thing I truly remember. It was just very steep as well, going down like 45 degrees or something. Those steps are. It was so hot. It's just like almost unbearable, Obviously, there's not like air circulating around like we would have when we're outside and what have you. But it was just absolutely burning hot.
Well, especially if there's a bunch of people going through there. The only air in and out can come through, well, the thieves' entrance, the main entrance, and that one conduit out of the king's chamber. Those are the only ways in and out of that structure.
Sorry, I
But-
was muted there. Mm.
So yeah, I could see if, especially near the end of a day with a lot of people coming through there, exhaling and inhaling and climbing up and down, probably get some, on some days, pretty bad smelling too.
The thing is, the water's not there, or around most of them, and they're not really in the same condition they were because they've been petrified, haven't they? So they're not quite in the same condition they were when they were working. So maybe that's why they're hot. Maybe when they were working, it was cold in there.
Well, I think the environment itself, because you're going to have a fire near the top of it, I do believe it would be a warmer than average temperature because it's generating heat. So, but that's like saying a furnace when your air for your heater in your house. If you put your hands on it while it's operating, it's going to be hot, regardless of what the outside temperature is, because inside of it, it's generating heat. That's part of its function. What part of its function yields is heat.
Hmm. And then what happens, like when we were talking with Robert Kidner, and he was saying he really felt with the gargoyles on some of these pyramids that these things were not nice. They maybe murdered people in that one because he got horrible feelings from that one.
Well, that
Do you believe that kind of thing? That some of I do like your way that they were like the platforms that people were arriving on.
Well, me myself, not all pyramids were made for the same reason. It's like saying all telephone poles hold telephone wires. It's just a lot of things are thrown together and classified as pyramids, but that's why I really focus on the Giza pyramids and isolate on them, because I can't say like the Bosnian pyramids. Those and the ones that we were talking about in South America are really the only ones that I can kind of put forth evidence that they were, and the one we looked at in Russia. Those 4 monolithic structures are ones that I feel were all using electricity, or using nature's electricity, if whether you want to call it telluric energy, whether you want to call it orgone energy. It's all, everything has to deal with vibrations. And I think just that he picked the name, for whatever reason, he picked the name of orgone energy, but it all has to do with vibrational energies, and he found the right tunes and right tones to get certain things done. He says, hey, when we do this, it does that. When we do this, it does that. This is nature, and it happens. So let's utilize it. And because it's really easy to do and free to do, like I said, he had it on the back of a pickup truck. He would just put a hose into the water and would aim it up at the sky for like 6 to 10 hours. And then it would start to rain because he would just make rain clouds. And it was really just like HARP. It was directed energy. You want to look at it the same way as that Dr. Woods lady. It was directed energy, only it wasn't being really used as a weapon. It was coaxing nature to make a cloud, and nature said, all right, I'll make a cloud. And started to rain. He drove away, collected some money, had a nice day, and it was a repeatable. It wasn't really hocus pocus, and they don't want people to understand that water is a crystal, and just like all crystals, if you kind of get them all beating at the same tone, you get them all on the same tune in the same vibration, then they will just start to stick together, because I don't know, because they do, if you hit the right tone. And it also goes back to part of the reason I think we were forcing the 440 instead of the 432 down people's throats, is because they hit certain chords that are destructive and make people ill. And that all does go back to the whole culling issue, that they feel there are too many of us worthless eaters on the planet, and everything they can do to make us more and more ill is better for their big picture. And the more plastic they can get us to eat, and the more aspartame they can get us to eat, the more sex changing that they can get us to do, and all this other stuff, it's just, it is a it is a pretty big, horrible mess that people don't really want to admit because it does sound so big and horrible. That's I don't know. I can't say any more than it. It is pretty big and horrible.
Yeah, even that's all complicated. Do you think those things were making weather and stuff then?
No, I don't. I don't see how they, at least from what I see, I believe it was just collecting and distribution. Um, Although I would love to get somebody who would like to look at the system and kind of really see it through my eyes and tell me what they think and where I'm wrong. But I mean, I've been actually, what I've been playing with now are the three smaller pyramids on either side of the Giza pyramid and kind of assuming what they look like. In fact, if artist wants to pull them up on Google Maps or something, I can point out how it does look like the ones next to what I like to call Building 7 for my 9/11 reasons. That it was designed to kind of pull the static off of the structure. They've got the best looking pyramid right below it, and they fade out to two other structures. And I don't think they had their tops blown off or people stole pieces of them because you can still see the structure is intact in areas.
Angel,
Yeah.
we need to get you a passport first thing. Then you need to book a flight second thing, and the destination would be Cairo, because you need to go to see the pyramids. You need to see them in real life, go inside them if you can still go inside them, and just experience it, because I'm sure you'll get like a million times more information out of being there rather than looking at pictures of it or seeing videos of it or, you know, just hearing other people talking about them and that, you know. I truly believe the first thing you need to do is get a passport, man. This year, do it this year, so that you can, because you're not going to progress. You're just going to be, I mean, okay, we can all research and things without actually going to places for sure, but true progression, go to the place, feel the vibes, feel the energy, feel the, you know, the aura of, like, you know, how it is, the heat, the cool wind in the evening when the sun's gone down. You know, it's like you need to experience it. And I think we should have a crowd fundraiser for you so that we can get you a passport, man. Don't be so shy. Get yourself a passport.
If I can spend a
burn
month
it afterwards.
I would also need to, in order to really get what I need, I would need to have a way to measure elevation as close as possible to the true elevation as I can, because I think it all rides on that wonderful 8-inch looking hole that Artis showed me the first or second weekend I was on this group, that I love to this day, because I think that really is the magic answer. And its elevation in respect to the corridor down the Queen's Chamber, I'm assuming at this point, because I really haven't dissected the entire blueprints on the Peru plateau there, but its elevation is kind of below the elevation of the Queen's Chamber, so that it's maintaining whatever it's a gas, or what I'll tell you, Chris Monk was pointing out to me, what is referred to, if you look on it on YouTube, as the fourth state of water, but really technically it would be the fifth state, because when you that's a whole nother story, but where water becomes a gel before it becomes a solid, between -4 degrees Celsius, between 4 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees Celsius, it's in a gel state. So, and there are features of this gel state that are quite unique. This structure could be harvesting that state of water. These are hypotheticals because I don't know what it's doing until I actually play with it and get one running. I'm guessing, which is why I like to put it in CAD. And I think part of what it's working with is the reason it's so large is because it is working with a pretty finite area of, like I'm talking here, you're talking about between 0 and 4 degrees Celsius. That's 4% of play, where normal your standard deviation is 20%. You take the top 20% of something. So it's got a pretty fine point there of being just perfect.
And there we were. We thought they were tombs. Sounds so stupid, really, doesn't it? All now.
Well, I kind of almost bit the tomb theory for a while. It never sat well with me, kind of like Santa Claus never really sat well with me for a while. But the more I looked into it, the more I learned of it, and the more I learned about its shape and configuration. It is, and the more I learned about what water can and does do in certain circumstances, the more I learned that they really knew how to play with water.
Yeah, and I know. And we're sort of told that they, they were so advanced. We're not nowhere near where they were.
And I'm not so sure how Japanese have their water fountains all the time. They love their water fountains. That they may not have had some knowledge as well. And they keep a lot of secrets themselves.
I did send it to you. I couldn't show it on here because it was a BBC program, and they like to give strikes and things for that. But it talked about, I sent it to artists. It was about what do you call it? Some sewers underneath. I'm not sure if it wasn't Rome. Can't remember where it was now, but they're now reckoning it's 7,000 years old, and this thing still works, and it stops all sorts of things like mosquitoes, all these other things that happen because it's there. It stops flooding, and it still maintains these waterfalls, and yet it's supposed to be that old. And also for Flat Fred. Pardon?
It was well engineered.
Yeah. But they're now saying 7,000. They thought it was a couple of thousand years old, but they now reckon that it was older than that. I'd have to try and find it through some messages. It's so long ago I sent this to artists. I think I might have sent them to you. I'm not sure. Little videos. But it's like at that point, 7,000 years ago, they've got us believing that it was like a very hard place to live. And these people were far more advanced than we are. It's just, yeah.
Can I just say something, Karen, about the Romans?
Yeah.
Well, they were just so advanced in a sense, like they built the roads. They had what's it called? Is it called the Umbra on the road? It's got like a curve, hasn't it? What's it called? Someone help me, please. But so the rain goes from the middle of the road to the edges, and they apparently there's a, what's it called? The Watling Road, the Watling Lane or something. In England, it's like the longest Roman road in England, or was at one time. Hadrian's Wall. What was that all about? These Romans, they were. When you look at Bath, for example, the city of Bath, and these old Roman baths that they had. I mean, they were fantastic, and people were like going to these like health spas. They were like, Roman health spas in essence, weren't they? Good things for like the population. They did some good shit, man. They really did. Did a lot of crap things as well, like with the centurions and what have you, But I think that was a almost as if it was like not an industrial revolution in that sense, but it was a revolution in the sense that we progressed so much. If it wasn't for the Romans and also the Victorians, in the Victorian era, there were so many good inventions, and we still use them today. In fact, the Victorian things that they invented way back then, in the time of Victoria, they probably would have still been working today if people hadn't, you know, thrown them away or dismantled them and what have you, because everything was just, it worked, things worked. They were fantastic ideas, fantastic inventions, basic, simple, like, take, for example, water pumps, right? The Romans invented water pumps. They could pump water for, I don't know how many hundreds of meters, no problem. One man, he could just pump water. Like, it's all online. You can find it all online, no problem. The Romans, they did so much for mankind today. I mean, and we're still using most of what they invented, way back when, Yeah, I'm done.
We still don't know how much of our history is a lie, though, do we? How old these things are. I mean, Matthew talked about something with those fires in America. Like, this rabbit had been petrified. Yeah, it wasn't near the fire, but it was near the fire. But it wasn't, if it was in the fire, it would have been burnt. Yet this thing got petrified. And everybody thinks they used some sort of energy weapon thingy bob there, because the trees were, the fire flames were coming out of the tree, not out of the tree inside. And even it didn't really affect the trees. It only seemed to affect the houses and things. So do we know how long things? I mean, artists reckon that some of these things would have happened in minutes, hours, when all these other weird things, the rocks were coming out of the ground, and these things could have happened quite quickly. Anyway, artist is back. Oh, carry on.
It's more like evident that they used these weapons. In fact, if you want, well, I don't know, you'll probably get a strike for it, but you can look up. We just made LAWS, Long Laser Weapon System, LAWS, LAWS, and they came out with a 53 kilowatt laser just this now it's last July, and then this stuff happened in like August. It was like a month after they developed this weapon that this stuff happened to happen. Was it August or September or something? So here they say, hey, we have this really cool weapon. Look what it can do.
Yeah. Artist is back. Artist, did you have something else to say? Flat Earth.
I was listening. It was very interesting. Is that the LX2RT laser? You said
LAWS is its name. LAWS is its acronym, which stands for Laser Weapon System. And they have one. The video is labeled like 53 kW laser. Or you might look up new, and they call it a 60 kilowatt, even though it's only 53. So some of them are labeled 60 kW. And since the time of that video that came out like in the middle of 2017, they now supposedly have it up to 150 kilowatts.
I can show you, of course, some pictures that actually.
So they can fry the chicken in midair, so when it lands on your plate, it's cooked.
Is this what you mean, Angel? These things?
Uh-huh. They're not that big.
No. "4K Laser Smart."
Well, that one's 4K. That one's a camera too. It looks like that, but it's. Or I'll pull it up. It's LAWS is its acronym. You guys talk about something. I'll pull it up and let you know when I have it.
Don't play a video though.
No.
Just do a picture. So everybody seems to be like, I don't know. There's lots of people getting things from YouTube at the moment, so you have to be careful of not breaking any of the guidelines.
The lasers are getting smaller, as you can see over here. You can hold them in your hand.
I have one of those little handheld lasers. But what I want to say, there's a guy online, only a young guy, like 16, 17 or something like that, and he's got this laser and he's absolutely destroying. I mean, he's built this laser. It's it's very, very, very frightening, extremely frightening. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called, but yeah, it's on YouTube, and this guy is just like he's more or less supercharged a laser, and you can just destroy things. I mean, he's like burning through TVs and ripping through tables and all sorts of things, and it's only a laser that he's using, like with mirrors, and he's more or less amplified the laser power, you know. But it's a little kid. He's a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I'm done.
That's amazing. You can use it. You also have one for your mobile phone, smartphone. You click on it and then smartphone laser pointer.
Well, here on my screen, you can see the one I was talking about. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's probably the size of a dorm room refrigerator. But they can fry the chicken in midair.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
And you look, one of those videos was posted 7 months ago. They originally came out with the idea, as you can see there, about 3 years ago, but they didn't get the really super high power until just this last year. And like I said, now they've like doubled it. But this is the technology that does exist. We do have, and you know, it's hard to say they're not playing with it because it does exist. And boys will play with toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds a bit like those forest fires. Sounds like they use something like that then.
I would
Because
not.
the houses was things were happening to the houses, but not the trees. Just a different frequency, isn't it? They were using to get the houses, not the trees.
Exactly, Karen. That's exactly what they've done, because you can see, and that's why I delved into this about the lasers and things, and had a good look. And then I come across this young guy that had invented his own little device. But you can see they have lasers in industries nowadays where you can actually take a piece of paper, and if you've wrote something on a piece of paper, you can take away the print but leave the paper intact. I mean, that is how scary it is. So you've got a piece of paper, the paper won't burn, but the ink will just burn away. You know, they can just remove the ink, and they use these lasers for like metal to remove rust. They'll remove all the rust, but not the good metal. You know, the healthy metal. So I mean, it's a chemical process, isn't it? And it's scary because they can do things where it'll just take your hand off, but not burn paper. You know, they can do it. It's all to do with colors and vibrations, obviously. Certain frequencies that will be affected and other frequencies that aren't. So I mean, it's very, very interesting to say the least. Okay.
Yeah, because if you have a tattoo on your arm, they can probably also get rid of the ink of the tattoo, so the tattooation on your arm is gone, basically. Then.
Yeah, I think that was part of what I've seen actually as well, where they were removing tattoos from people, you know, and obviously they can scan it across the whole tattoo, but it'll just take away let's say the red, and then when they'll change the frequency, and then they can do it again, and then they'll just take away the blue. You know, obviously you've got to do it over time, a little bit at a time. You can't do it all in one go, like otherwise, it's probably not good. It's probably not good anyway, but yeah. Don't get tattoos, people, or do whatever you decide.
Thanks for that, Astral. Yeah, did you finish showing what you wanted to show then, Artis? Artis,
Oh,
Artis,
yeah.
John.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you were pulling up the Giza pyramid for me there. You can go over
Oh,
that.
yeah, that was what I was showing. You asked me to show the pyramid. There's a Pluto. You wanna talk about
Angel
it?
was waiting patiently there.
Yeah, that was that things that I was showing. Let's go back to it. And you maybe fix the screen on mine, and then Angel can talk over the can talk.
Yeah. Now, if you take your little walkie guy and either put him next to between the Great Pyramid and the three smaller substructures, or down at the bottom one, either one, I can show you on either one of them because they each have different.
I will slide the puppet, and let's say you can say over here.
Next to the big one, go up and yeah, right about there. Drop it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, now walk south a bit. See those three? Okay, stop. Behind you, those three structures. One of them is a nice steady form. It's fairly, symmetrical. The next one over, you notice more looks like a rectangle. And it was so that the top part was thinner and the bottom part was thicker. And if you look at them, there's a discoloration, and it looks like the water level would have been, at least out there, at right about where the change of the rocks are on that second one. And if you look at the third one over, it would have barely been sticking out of the water. See that?
Yeah.
And that first one is the one that, if you remember, you can get inside of, and it has the configuration on the inside, that funky configuration. And something else I noticed is right between the two that you're looking at there, if you take your guy and walk over, there's another cutout area where it looks like there was another walk to the southeast where you are. Yeah, that direction. A little bit more. Keep going. There you go. One more step. Now stop and turn. Look away from the master pyramid. There you go. That right there. That looks like another cutoff or spillway or something, where something would have been sliding up there. But inside of that one structure there, and you notice here the flooring is quite unique. It goes up, but then is cut off. So there was a spillway, but and here's where I think they were working with heavy water. But I'm not sure what heavy water would do in normal water and normal atmospheric pressure. I mean, I don't have a lot of heavy water to play with. It's expensive stuff. But it all depends on what nature would do. Or they're just showing you a size. But I think that whole area is actually underwater. Everything you're standing in right now would be underwater. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you can also see those cutouts.
Yep.
Almost the exact distance from each other. That is interesting when you take a closer look at the site. You can actually walk there like we can do.
Yeah, you
will see certain things that you overlooked.
This is one of the reasons I could do this on my free time at work.
Yeah.
And I don't have to spend a month there on a passport from donations. Luckily, there's somebody with a backpack that already did it for me.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Sorry to say, you need to go.
I would love-
Sorry, Artis, could you like have a little wander around there, please, for us, so we can have a look around at other
Sure.
things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I recommend everyone take a look. It's a great place. Go there and you know, spend lots of time at it. I think it's an awesome structure. The whole plateau.
See, those stones on the left have a rough surface. No, on the right, they have very smooth surface.
Right. And up near the top of that ramp, they were smooth on both sides, but
Yeah.
they were only about, you know, thigh high. Well, they weren't thigh high, they were calf high. So I think that right there is actually a spillway out, and that what we were looking at was the cutoff for where they could spill water out in that direction.
It seems also indeed to have a bit of a slope downward here.
Right, that's why I think it's a spillway out.
Always look at the floor. Eh? Sometimes you can see interesting things on the floor. But it is indeed great that you can actually walk on those sides. I see some detail.
Yeah, that's one good thing that Google have done for us, isn't it?
For sure. And also, you talked about that certain place over here. That's called. It was Bitmoon.
That's the main spillway.
Yeah.
And those are controlled by the other two cutouts, just like you were looking at. And that right there is that what's that rock? It's
Bitmoon.
bismuth,
Yeah.
which basically is the equivalent to having a ferrite cell. It is an anti-magnet.
Yeah, bismuth, isn't that what you grow crystals from?
Yeah. Yeah,
It
what we talked about a while ago, that if you have bismuth, you can actually heat it up and then crystal starts to form. Yeah. And we can find it really quick. Probably I write it wrong.
When you were looking there, there was lots of different flooring there, wasn't there, as well? Different
Well,
levels of flooring.
And you notice how there are teeth in the floor. There were cutouts right where he was standing.
Yeah.
Where
yeah, for the people who want to know, these are bismuth crystals. Just a side track. Okay, let's go back.
like right there, see how there are nice square teeth cut out?
Over here, you mean?
Yeah, that whole area. The whole area has nice square teeth cut out.
Maybe if I do this.
Look right there. They're all in a row. Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
You usually have to go about 10 feet away and then look down because they kind of blur out by your feet.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Oh, this is better.
See how they're all in a row?
Mm-hmm.
I think that so whatever it was that was anchored there, like the spillway and gate system had a way to anchor in.
That makes sense.
So what's that there then? Just a wall.
That's where the spillway on this one is where the pull mechanism was, and the other side you notice has ramps on it. That is so the wall would actually ride up on the ramps, so that the water would spill out from the bottom of the moat instead of over a spillway wall. It would spill out underneath.
But that's this one.
Yes. See how it has like ramps?
Yep, very clear.
And when you pull the wall towards the other side, it would ride up the ramp just a few little inches, and it would let more water spill out across that bismuth, so that it would kind of separate it from nature. The bismuth would be the Faraday rod on your power cord.
Can I ask something, Angel?
Sure.
These ramps, how wide are they? Or, are they for water, or could a person walk down them, I mean?
Well, if you stood in there, I think if you reached arm to arm, you could see how a person standing there, you would probably be in there to about waist high. And if you put your arm out, you could probably touch side to side.
Okay.
It's strange how they don't talk about all these other things, do they, when they talk about the pyramids? They only actually just show you the pyramids, not the other buildings, not all these parts.
Because they don't make any sense to the tomb dogma. Now, if you look there, any static on that structure trying to get to ground, which would be that other spillway we looked at, would have to try to get to the closest pyramid to it, which is just to the east of it, which is the one that would be barely sticking out of the water. And the other two would be sticking more and more out of the water.
There's a lot of rock just there where Artis was standing. There's a lot of just rock.
It is just rock. That would be all underwater. And there was also a ground pool that was next to him that goes down a good 60 feet. That also had a fence around it.
Yeah.
Is that something that they put in? Or is that really thick rock there? Because it looks like there's...
That's the entrance, the main entrance, as they call it. The one just to the dark hole to the bottom of it. That's where people go in it today. The thieves' entrance, right there.
I'm sure I went into the one with the archway there, a bit higher up in the middle now. That's the where I went through. Yeah, there. Sure.
I doubt it, but that would mean that you would have entered in at an angle as opposed to going in horizontal and entering.
Yeah, it was an angle. It was 45 degrees down.
Okay, then that's the way you went in.
Yeah.
You can go in that way, but many people go in the hole below it. That way you don't climb up to come back down to go up again. But you can see there people are all going in the bottom hole.
Yeah, it was in the 90s when I was there.
Okay. Well, hey, I don't run the show. I just know a lot about it.
Interesting sort of V shape there, and the bigger one. It's like two V shapes on top of each other.
That's because it's double the pressure.
That's the
So
support,
what? Those
isn't
V
it?
shapes are all over it side, or just there?
Well, they have them there. They have it on the way top of the king's chamber. They have them inside the middle pyramid. Also, at in the central one inside the middle pyramid. And all of them, ironically enough, if it's has two chevrons, that is where it's like double Earth's atmospheric pressure. Where there's one, it's where there's one Earth's atmospheric pressure.
Hmm.
Angel, recently they found another one of those chevrons, or they believe similar, higher up, close to a corner. I'm not quite sure which corner of it was. I think, if I remember rightly, it was some Japanese people that have found something. They've done some, like, kind of X-ray equipment where they've located something. Have you heard about that?
I have that video. And then they put it into a 3D CAD.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember seeing a chevron image, but I'll look at it again.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there was something to do with similar entrance to that one in the middle there. Because I would imagine that that one in the middle there is the entrance, like the original, you know.
Well, okay. Now, right here, looking, this is not the Great Giza Pyramid. That right there, I can tell you, looking up it, that is the middle pyramid.
Yeah.
Is that not Cheops? That it looks like it's got a face stone at the, or you know, the shiny stone at the top, whatever. Not shiny, but you know.
Yeah, the one you're talking about, it's 80 meters up. It's on the northeast corner.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. It's not on the big pyramid. No, that's true. Yeah, it's on another pyramid. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, this top north pyramid here, that is the Great Giza Pyramid. It's not the tallest in elevation. It is the largest in volume. There's a difference. 80 meters up on the, which would be the furthest corner from the one that has the smooth top, what I refer to as the positive terminal. There is a big void. That is a room. Yes, that even the John Pingier dude climbed up there and had somebody look inside of it. It does exist. I don't remember seeing. I watched both those videos. I don't remember seeing any chevron shapes, but I look for more now for specific shapes, especially since when you pay attention to Carl Monk and the code thing, you know that they had common communication, and it's kind of like Morse code or any other Braille or anything. As long as you know some of it, you can get the rest of it by working backwards. And I do currently believe that everywhere there's a nice big chevron shape that is telling you the atmospheric pressure known to be at that location. The rest of it is all variable because the system is always at play. But those are the known variables of pressure going in and the pressure in each one of those rooms. Yeah, I believe that to be the positive terminal. And you notice how it has thicker steps near the bottom, like 10%. And
I didn't even realize till watching one of your videos that they're on different levels anyway.
Yeah, right now he's going up a hill.
Yep.
So the guts that are inside of that pyramid.
You also see it here, that it goes down.
Yeah, so the guts that are inside of that pyramid are at the same elevation as the Queen's Chamber elevation of the Great Giza Pyramid. And it all has to do with buoyancy. The fact that water always wants to find its equal, even over great distance. As long as there was a conduit connecting those two,
They're kind of eerie, aren't they? Because you just don't know quite what they are. I mean, the shapes, like, I know what we're looking into and what we understand, but it's just like, they're quite eerie. So damaged, aren't they?
I think Yudit should go there because she's only a couple of hours from there. You know,
Yeah, you should go there. I'll give her a 3D camera.
she can just go across. She can just go across. She's not far from there. I tell you.
I'm going tomorrow.
Oh, beautiful! Take lots of pictures then, and
Sure.
videos.
Really going?
Sure, I'm going tomorrow. I'm going. Yes.
Really? Because if you are, I have a laundry list of stuff I'd like you to do for me, please.
When I listen to you and I see all this picture, this is what I think. I want to go there. Yeah.
You know,
Yudit,
if I had the money,
very
I would join
important.
you.
Just wait a second. This is very important. If you are able to take a real compass to those sides and see if the needle turns in other directions than the actually north direction. So if you and they hold them close to the stones of the pyramid and see if they have magnetic properties.
Artist, come with me. Artist and Astro, come with me. Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Not tomorrow, next week, next month. Yeah. It's very close to me.
But bring a compass to the, if you go, bring always to any kind, even to your church, your local church. Bring a compass and see what the needle does. If it goes in specific directions.
Before I go, we talk about this, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very interesting. It's the first time that I see how tall it is, how big it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hear that all the time.
Yudit, seriously, you cannot be serious that you haven't been to the pyramids and you live right next door, more or less.
Yeah. You're right. I agree.
Okay, hold on a second.
And take the guy and drop him just south. Sorry, south of Pyramid 7, the third largest one on the plateau.
Well, that was quite amazing being at the pyramids, wasn't it?
Well, we ain't done.
You could see so many things there. Like even the flooring was all different. Like you say, the holes in the ground, but I just thought of it more as just the pyramids, because that's what they really only ever show you, isn't it? It's the 3 pyramids. It's masses of stuff there. So, Lev, what do you make of all that then?
The pyramids.
Lev. Yeah, well, that bit, yeah.
I'm gonna quit. It kind of loses me a bit because it's like it's difficult to find anything to be conclusive about. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not very good with pyramids.
Okay, that's okay. Just asking like your opinion. What about you, Flat Fred? Flat Fred.
Yeah, I'm here, Karen. Yeah, I'm here, Karen.
What do you think about the pyramids?
Yeah, I love all
there?
that. Yeah, pyramids. I don't know. I love the old ones that you can't see anymore. I think they're great. There's something hiding in them. But the way that Egypt is actually put together, it's like a power conduit of some sort. Anyway, isn't it? It's like some sort of grid. I mean, like every place they're all put up together like grids. That's got something significant to do with them. And like I say, I think the stuff that they're made of, that's significant. The stuff, the place where they're built, they're significant. So yeah, they're all. It's fascinating, isn't it? Going round, with Google, I think it's. Yeah, you don't get an idea how big they are until you actually see something like that, do you? So, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've got all sorts of mysteries behind them, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they got a lot of mysteries behind them. But I think Angel wanted to point something out on another pyramid.
Well, the other side of the system, for every system, you have to have a true path to nature's ground, and then your control, or the one you want to manipulate. And that's building 7, or the third pyramid. That's the neutral.
This one?
Yep. Drop the guy between that pyramid and the 3 buildings below it.
Oh, over here. Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
And if you look south, it's there. It's a rock garden. And you see a tiny, actually, look back there a second, right? Oh, where you had it. You notice there a bit of the foundation?
Over here.
Right, which would match the foundation on the north side that you were pointing out, again, right when I first joined you guys. You had pointed out how it kind of goes up in a V shape on the right side. Mm-hmm. I believe that all has to work with pointing out the elevation so you can see the water level from outside of the structure. Knowing the system on the inside. These are the keys so that the water level never gets too high or too low. People know what's going on. And I bet you if you take that bottom lip of the top rung and you run it around to the side, it is just above that one hole that you pointed out to me. Because the whole intention is that you got to keep the water so it keeps whatever they're harvesting inside the system. The water is the containment vessel. If the water goes too low, that gas will start to seep out, or that water will start to seep out. The water is the containment vessel. That is.
Can I ask you something? On that picture there, the stones on the ground, just whether it's just the way it's taken the pictures, look darker than the ones on like the pyramid. And you said, well, look, those ones are a different colour because maybe they were covered in water. But do you think they've lost their casing stones and are showing a lighter brick underneath? Brick, wood, stone.
I don't think they were casing stones because I don't think that structure had any casing stones at all. If you go, there are videos which I can point out to you. If we don't want to play them, we don't have to. I've communicated with the guy, but I never told him I'd play him on a website. But where there's a guy who climbed all the way to the top of that, and it's a nice uniform, like looking like Legos, one square inside of another square, and it goes down in a nice uniform shape. There was nothing glued.
Hello?
Oh, he broke up a bit.
Angel?
Just when it gets interesting, more interesting.
Angel, no.
Oh, that's. You're also breaking up a little bit on my end, Karen. Just a tiny bit, so I don't know what's happening.
Well, I was hoping it's going to be better now. I've changed to.
Yeah, you're also breaking up. Estelle, is Karen breaking up a bit or not?
Yeah, she's choppy on my end as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she's yeah, exactly, a little bit choppy.
Yeah, maybe there's a dip or whatever.
Is that better?
No, you still, yeah. Yeah, that's strange. Sometimes at a certain times, it almost looks like certain people, their bandwidth goes down, and they are for
How
some
about now?
reason. Oh, he's back. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you again, Angel.
All right. What I was saying was, let me turn this off. I'm on my phone right now because my computer decided to be mean.
Uh-huh.
But I can't see you right now. This could be my fault. Up there, I got to click here. Give me a second here. Now I can see you.
Okay.
I have a video of a guy who climbed all the way to the top, and it's a uniform thing. It looks like Legos. That one is the control, the norm. In all science experiments and everything, you have to have something which is your known ground. Everything has to, the goal of all nature is to get back to its norm, its ground. That structure is your control. That is the norm, the ground. And in fact, when you look at the internal guts of it, it has a reverse antenna. It has a piercing that goes inside of it and goes down to below what would be the water level. So the same way that I was pointing out to you that your mound that's near you had an antenna that stuck up in from the water level. In this particular case, it has a reverse antenna that sticks down below water level. And I mean, just you can find maps of that structure if you don't believe me. But and then on the front of it, it shows your water level of your function, and I'm sure we'll find that correlates with the levels of all of the structures, because this is your key structure. I mean, all of them are key. And also, when you look at those three right there, we're to the east of it right now, right? We're not to the south of it anymore. Yeah, because that pyramid there is the south.
Yeah.
So here, the structures are a nice pyramid shape, a little broken pyramid shape, and then a lesser pyramid shape. So it's actually coaxing electricity, high voltage electricity, off of the structure.
And
low voltage.
Those are the same shapes as by those the Great Giza pyramid.
Right. That's a configuration. That is not something else was on top of it shape. They want you to think, something else was on top of it, because they don't want you to see that this was a finished structure. And you also notice at this point, the elevation of the ground goes up, and then it will drop down again, because the water level went right to ground at this point. If you turn and kind of look to the east from where you are, the west from where you are right now standing, you'll notice that the ground level will be like above your head.
Also, when the artist was standing there, you can see that further away is much lower than where you're standing.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because you'd be standing right now in a big pool of water. I believe this whole structure was underwater. You can even kind of see the water wear marks right there where you're looking. It's about twice as high as the people in front of you there.
Yeah.
And that will coincide with the markings on the side of the structure.
Yeah.
The key what they like to call the remaining casing stones. Those are just markers.
So basically, that stuff there on the right could be all the stuff that was lying there, and they sort of pushed it all up against the pyramid, and everybody thinks, maybe that's the casing stone.
Except for when you look at this channel there, that channel is a defined channel, and they didn't build that channel. That channel was there. I kind of refer to that as the rock garden, because you need to have, all static has to kind of have a way to coax off and down to ground. So it's going to coax off, but it will have to jump over that moat of a stagnant distance, a uniform distance that they have made to get off of that structure, to get to the other three structures, to get to true ground. And nature will find the path of least resistance. In this case, you want to kind of have it maintained, because that structure there is going to hold static electricity, which is going to be the antithesis to the pool of gases that are inside of that structure, trying to get to the anti-antenna I was talking about that stick down inside of the structure. And I don't know exactly how, whether, you know, again, I'm not sure the science behind it because I'm not sure exactly what the element or compound or whatever it is that the structure is making. But I can tell you how it is that it can't push its way out of water, and it seems to be lighter than, well, it's less dense than water. So it may be that what they like to call the fourth
Well,
state of
yeah.
water.
Here can
It
you
may be
actually
helium
see,
itself.
here you can actually see how that it slides it down, going down. See,
Right.
very clear. Yeah, I tried to look for a picture that you actually could see that it is down sliding. Yeah, very clear.
It would be really cool to like get a, you know, a 20-foot by 20-foot printout in a 3D printer of the Giza Plateau. That, you know, as a, you know, something to play with. And
Yeah.
then it can be made to work. But, you know, there's a lot of detail to it, and I don't want to
Yeah.
guess as much as I don't have to guess.
No.
And I can't really reconstruct it without going crazy with like a 3D version of it. And I could walk around there for months and months and months unless I can translate and get all that data into somebody who could 3D print it or can model it or can sculpt it or can, you know, I want to prove what it was doing and show that it will work, because it's all kind of black and white. There is energy above us, and it does want to short to Earth, and it does that in lightning. It happens occasionally. I'm sure many of us may have happened to have seen it once or twice in our life. And nature does this. And I made you, or you showed the video not too many months ago where the guy hooked a drone, flew it up into the air with nothing more than like a 30 gauge wire, and he was able to get a little motor to spin. So energy is there. It's just there for the taking. And the size of this structure takes that finite amount of energy and just gets it in massive amounts. It just, you know, it's a lot of a little amount of power.
I'm also glad that you mentioned those smaller pyramids that are now on the left, that they have the same shapes as those smaller pyramids at the Great Giza Pyramid. I never looked at it, and then now you mention it, and that's great that you have a whole group of people on the Sun and Moon group that actually give information to each other, and then you think, oh, I never looked at it. That makes sense. Now I see it. Yeah. So thanks for that, Angel.
No problem. Like I said, I could have walked around. In fact, I have. From the Google Maps, from the Google sites, I cannot find that conduit that you showed me. I would have never found that unless you had pointed that out to me on that one person's photo stream or whatever it was.
The photo stream is amazing. Hey, it takes very detailed photos of everything in Egypt, basically. Yeah.
But
and also, even over here, those stones are lying. So that's very far away. So maybe they were just on another structure, or it was completely another structure, and they just moved it aside because they would make room for the road to ride on.
Well, sometimes you can look at the flooring that exists, and like the one you just walked down, that, well, like I was referring to as the auxiliary spillway. Mm-hmm. The way that the flooring was constructed in the wall, the rocks on the side, that was something that was there at the time. No one today would take the effort to build it like that.
The stones are lying.
That right there, that looks like modern day construction. That right there is modern day construction. Right in front of you. That is not. Yeah, that's modern day stuff.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm. That is modern day. If you.
You're missing about it. Who knows, sir?
You sure? You sure, Artis?
Well, pretty sure. That was really funny, ain't it?
If it has the letter C on it, it's from NASA.
Yeah, probably. Let's see if we can actually go around that. Interesting, they lined it up in a zigzag shape a bit, see? Huh. Strange that they put it in this location anyway. It's very interesting that you can walk on those sides all around it. Yeah, another one. Modern day construction. And you have this bigger stones over here. Eh? Let's see if we can get to that.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah.
Apart from the pyramids, right, all around this site, there are tombs. There are like, I don't know, there are literally hundreds of tombs. I didn't go in them because people have been using them as toilets and what have you, know. They stink. I mean, they stink to high heaven and back again. But the reason that I've heard, the reason that they built these small tombs around and about, I don't know if you can find any there, artists. They're close by.
I think this is, yeah, I think this is one, and you have another one that, let's see if we can find them.
Yeah, but I heard one of the reasons that they built them was that apparently, I'm not taking this, but apparently the people that built the pyramids wanted to be buried close to, the kings and queens and what have you, you know, or these pharaohs and stuff. So they made their own little burial chambers kind of thing, but they have just been used as toilets. Honest to God, they're just toilets, and they absolutely reek. They reek. You know, imagine the heat there. They stink.
Yeah.
So
just like you have that other so-called big. It's almost they call it an unfinished pyramid, far south from the Giza Plateau. And actually, it's part of a military complex, and they throw toxic waste in there. And it also prevents people from getting in if they want to do research, or so maybe that's on purpose that they use them as toilets so people won't get in. Who knows?
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, artist. If ever you go there, yeah, and even if it's in the winter time, it will still stink, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in the height of summer, you just walk close by 100 meters and you can smell it, man. You know, that toilet. Ugh. Yeah, sorry.
I understand, but maybe they do it for a reason, just to make sure that nobody goes in there.
Now, do you know about the dimple on the south side of the Great Giza Pyramid, the north structure, Pyramid 1?
On the which side, sorry?
Okay, go drop south of there, south side of that, right there.
Oh,
that dimple, right behind the boat.
Yeah,
building there.
Up. Yeah, that you can see it a little bit better. That's better. Let's zoom in. Oh, this is too far. Sorry. That one.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah, that seems interesting.
It'd be nice to know exactly how those. See how it kind of looks like they're.
You see that antenna on top? See?
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if it's visible. I can zoom in maybe. That you see, probably can barely see it. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's there.
For that, and I know it's there.
Yeah.
That's relieving the buildup of annoying static electricity that nature confines to the surface of the structure to this very day.
Yeah.
But I believe that dimple right there, how it looks like you have 3 distinct levels,
Yeah.
should correlate with the structure on the inside. So that
So,
from the
sorry,
outside,
where is the dimple that you're talking about?
right?
Over here.
It,
I put my cursor around it over here.
Oh, that's
See?
where someone's tried getting into it, surely. That hole,
no,
that's an
no,
indent
you
there. That's where they've
when
removed stones to
you
try and get in, thinking that there was an entrance
no.
there. For sure.
You look at
Believe me.
okay, when you say for sure and believe me, you obviously haven't looked at pictures of it. You haven't. This is the first time you seem to know of it, so you've not actually
is that
done any
going
research
out
on it.
or is it going in?
It's a dimple. It goes in, and when you look at photos of it, the ones on the corners are at an angle. It is no one pulled out the rock and then reformatted it on an angle. It is a dimple that is there on the structure, and it is at the same elevation that would be the water level. You can also see some scarring of water level around the outside of it if you really look at it. How
Yeah,
there's
okay,
different
but Angel, sorry, when I was there, right, this is what I got told, that was where the tomb robbers or whatever, the pyramid robbers tried to get in, and they've removed
Did you
stones.
look at it?
I've been all the way around them, yeah.
So
And that's what it also looked like to me, Obviously, you can't climb up it, and it's a good height, but from what you can see.
Somebody can say something, and that plants a seed in your mind that already gave you the thing. The world is a globe. Then when somebody else says something that agrees with that, you go along with it, or you accept it as a fact and you don't do research on your own.
No, true enough, yeah.
Not truly looked at this. When you look at it, you can see that was constructed there. That was not a mistake. Just like how the top of the structure is not missing any magic pyramidion. There's a rock garden on top, and it is, in fact, that one same 3D video that was talking about the hole in the corner also really pointed out the rock garden on the top and how there is a structure and a form to that. And I'd really like, to get somebody like people, Mensa type people, to attack it like a puzzle, because it is a puzzle, and try to decode it. But it is a puzzle, and I'm not sure what it says, but they didn't build it there for no reason, and everything else has always been communication.
It's great that you need to have these pictures, and I will look into it, try to get a good picture of that area if it's possible.
Oh, I have a few. If you want to pull up photos.giza.ws, there's one or two I have where people, I think they were probably standing on top of that structure to take the picture.
Photo. Dot Giza. Dot S. You said.
WS. For website.
Oh yeah.
But you may have to put it into the address bar on the top, not the search bar.
License. Oh.
Yeah. Now there's scroll down a bit. It's I think a yellowish looking picture because the rock is yellow in color.
Okay, stop if you see something, Angel.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm not sure where they up. That's the one side. Sorry.
Antenna. This is the antenna bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end. That's the antenna on the top.
Yeah. Like this.
But keep scrolling down. I know I have one or two of the dimple.
over here.
Yeah, that's one.
Can you click on it or?
Yeah, it should make it bigger if you click on it.
Oh, yeah.
That should be even bigger than that. Yeah, you can see how on the side some of those are at an angle.
Yeah.
They're not where they're squared and out of disjointed shape.
Hmm.
And when you see that they're 3 steps back, each one is denoting a level. And I'd like to know exactly how in elevation they marry the structure on the inside, because I believe that's to tell the water level from the outside. I have to take this call. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's good to know that you have all these pictures. That's great.
It kind of does look like. It kind of does look like a wall
when
there,
I
right? It kind of looks like there's a wall there, but what happens if they put those bricks in because someone did try to break in and they put them back like that because they were just filling up the hole?
when I was there, it wasn't like a tour, but I was with some guy, like a local Egyptian, and he was explaining about things, and he explained this was one of the areas where they, previous, robbers tried to get in, and they found out they couldn't get in, so then they went to another side, and that's where they ended up finding the way in, because
But we know that
I stand by it, I look at it and I see it and I think, yeah, okay, they tried getting in, they found out that they couldn't get in when they got like a few stones in or whatever, and then, okay, forget about this, guys, let's go on the other side or whatever. That's the way I see it, but I'm always open to new ideas for sure, yeah. I mean, but from what I can see, it's just like what I said. They've removed stones to try and find a way in.
Yeah.
Because you can almost see a part of the wall. You can see it carrying on, it sort of in there, can't you? As if there is a wall there. Do you see that? Like on the right-hand side, you can see that the bricks actually carry on.
Yeah.
It looks like it, but anyway, yeah. Can I just say that we've been going now for nearly 3.5 hours. 3 hours usually is a good time to stop. We've kind of been going for 3.5 hours. What do you all think if we round up today? Artis?
Oh, that's fine by me. If there are any questions, maybe from other people, and if they're not, it's fine by me. If it's all
Astral?
Yeah.
Astral.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, no, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's been very interesting, So I've nothing to add there. That's it's good. It's good. It's all good in the hood.
Thank you, Astral. Flat Fred. Flat Fred in the house.
No, I've not got note to add. I've got note to varied topics always. It's always good, Karen. Thanks, Artis, Angel.
Yeah, thank you for your words earlier on in the evening as well. It's always nice to have you on the panel, Flatred.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I also have.
it's nice to listen.
Sorry.
Anyway, Lev, do you have anything to add, or maybe just because we're winding up right now? Have you got anything to add?
I do struggle with pyramids and stuff like. I didn't realize that the water level were up there on them and stuff like that kind of thing. Which is interesting, what I mean? Like the Great Flood must have been, what I mean, much more widespread in that kind of sense and stuff like.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I learnt that by watching one of Angel's videos. I put it on Sun and Moon a few weeks ago. How I just didn't know that. Yeah, and they're all at different levels. They don't show you that or tell you that, do they? Really, it's not the thing you pick up from there. Anyway, thanks, Lev. Yudit, are you there? Yudit.
Yes, I'm here, and it's the first time in my life when I see this picture tonight that I am very interesting to see the pyramid. Yeah, touch it, feel it, picture, and yeah, very interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe
you'd probably go for a holiday. We wouldn't see you for 6 months because you wouldn't stop taking photographs.
come, Karen, and we go there together.
It sounds good.
Yes.
I haven't got any money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Yudit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Patricia's there, whether Patricia's gone to sleep right now. Patricia. No. Anyway, and I think that Angel's still on the telephone. So,
Yeah.
anyway, it's been a very interesting. You got something to say, Artis?
No, this is the site I'm researching for another Sunday. This is Wanaku Pampa in Peru, and I'm researching it for another time. So this is what you can, just an intro for next time. Next time on the Sun and Moon group, this structure in Peru with the monkeys.
Oh, yeah. I actually wondered what they were, and then I realised, oh, yeah, they're monkeys.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Artis. So, on that note, thank you to everybody in the chat room who's been chatting away and so forth. There's loads of people in there. Lee, obviously Astral's in there, Midnight Gardener, James, Luke, Paul Scully, Freya, or Fraser. I can't get my thing to go back fast enough. The Build, James, the Build was in there. Boris, I think he's gone to sleep now. Flat Earth Dude, I think he's just gone as well. Spherical Cow. Ooh. Anyway, thank you to everybody on the panel. Artists, Flat Fred, Angel, Levkungfu, Patricia, Astral, and Yudit. Thank you so much. And we're back tomorrow with Donald. And he came on a few months ago. He's someone that did or tried and did most of the Stan Myers experiment. So he's back talking about that.
Cool.
And also, what is it he flies around in, Artist? Do you remember it? They're not the same thing as Skyfly. He flies around in those mini helicopters, but they're not called helicopters there.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. No.
Yeah, but he's got another project on the go. So we're going to talk to him tomorrow. But anyway, thank you, everybody. And big flat earth hugs from us. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Karen.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Karen.
Oh, to everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you, Fat Fred. Thank you.